games, man? Hey, I'm fucking somebody else. Hey! What the fuck is this? What's up, everybody? This is Money Mike coming at you. Finally, it's all over. Finally, after everything, it's finally all over. And it's been a pretty good couple days since I believe the last time we came at you Friday night. So definitely looking forward to some talk about the future here tonight in the American Idiots podcast. And we'll go ahead and start bringing our co-hosts in, including, and I wish I could have grabbed him while he was taking a nice bite of his dinner, the Manic Hispanic, who has not gone into hiding. Manic Hispanic, you're still here with us.
No, not in hiding. Depressed for a little bit, but I popped some pills and I'm great now. You know, hold on, a little more medicine.
Oh,
I'm making it.
And of course, our wonderful co-host, Miss Tropic Thunder. Tropic Thunder, how are you doing this week? Tropic Thunder. Okay, let's see. Oh,
your mute button, dear. Your mute button.
No, I'm so good.
You're the absolute worst.
Look professional. Come on.
I'm the worst with the mute button. Hey, at least I mute myself.
This is true. This is true. At least you do mute yourself. And of course, the pretty boy, Sean, who is still rocking the Biden for president merchandise back there.
Right. How y'all doing?
Hey, it's another day in paradise. And we got a new member to the panel who's going to be joining us for as long as we can have her, hopefully. Miss Tara, who's been part of our election coverage for the past couple days this past week. Tara, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. I think probably four of us are overjoyed right now, and then poor Manny Hispanic here is just probably in a deep, deep depression.
It's not too deep. I told y'all before, if Biden was elected, it really doesn't change a whole lot on my level. In the end, I may have to pay a little more taxes, but I don't really expect it to be a big old cluster like everybody thinks it will be.
Absolutely, and we're gonna talk about that here in a little bit about what we think how Biden should do this. Of course, we're gonna run our mouths about a seat we've never sat in, so it's gonna be fun doing that. But we're gonna try our best. But of course, yes, Joe Biden is officially gonna be the 46th president of the United States.
Before we go too much further,
go ahead.
I want to say two things. Number one, Sean didn't get his music, and number two, he's not even raising a fuss about it. What the heck?
That's right. No, I was trying to be polite because we have a new member.
Oh,
tonight.
You're trying to be polite? There's a third, and that's a first.
Yeah, I know, right?
It is. Yes.
He's in a good mood because of last week.
I am. I'll let it slide this tonight, okay?
He still has enema in.
Yay! Good one. I like that. Nice.
Well, like I was saying,
Tropic said,
No. I'm not much for the enema talk.
You don't like the ass play, Mike? Come on.
Nah, not
Come on.
so much. Somebody should have warned poor Tara. Somebody should have warned poor Tara. She wasn't ready.
We do this while we actually talk, and we have a lot of fun. So
Yes.
follow the rules. Yes, there we go.
Well, y'all, like I was saying, Joe Biden officially was projected to be the winner of the presidential
I'm sorry,
election.
Tropic Thunder. I won't do it no more.
So he gave his victory speech Saturday night, and I have some of the highlights. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm hoping to hear some good things.
The President-elect of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
Let this grim era of demonization in America begin to end here and now. The refusal of Democrats and Republicans to cooperate with one another. It's not some mysterious force beyond our control. It's a decision, a choice we make. And if we can decide not to cooperate, then we can decide to cooperate. And I believe that this is part of the mandate given to us from the American people. They want us to cooperate in their interest. And that's the choice I'll make. For American educators, this is a great day for y'all. You're going to have one of your own in the White House. And Jill's going to make a great first lady. I'm so proud of her. And I'll have the honor of serving with the fantastic vice president who you just heard from, Kamala Harris, who makes history as the first woman, first black woman, the first woman from South Asian descent, the first daughter of an immigrant ever elected in this country. Don't tell me it's not possible in the United States. It's long overdue. I'm proud of the coalition we put together, the broadest and most diverse coalition in history. Democrats, Republicans, independents, progressives, moderates, conservatives, young, old, urban, suburban, rural, gay, straight, transgender, white, Latino, Asian, Native American. I mean it, especially those moments, and especially for those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb. The African-American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours. I said at the outset, I wanted to represent this campaign to represent and look like America. We've done that. Now that's what I want the administration to look like and act like. For all those of you who voted for President Trump, I understand the disappointment tonight. I've lost a couple times myself, but now let's give each other a chance. It's time to put away the harsh rhetoric, lower the temperature, see each other again, listen to each other again. And to make progress, we have to stop treating our opponents as our enemies. They are not our enemies. They are Americans. They're Americans. Our work begins with getting COVID under control. We cannot repair the economy, restore our vitality, or relish life's most precious moments, hugging our grandchildren, our children, our birthdays, weddings, graduations, all the moments that matter most to us until we get it under control. On Monday, I will name a group of leading scientists and experts as transition advisors to help take the Biden-Harris COVID plan and convert it into an action blueprint that will start on January the 20th, 2021. That plan will be built on bedrock science. It will be constructed out of compassion, empathy, and concern. I will spare no effort, none, or any commitment to turn around this pandemic. As my grandpapa, our grandpapa used to say when I walked out of his home when I was a kid up in Scranton, he said, "Joey, keep the faith." And our grandmother, when she was alive, she yelled, "No, Joey, spread it. Spread the faith. God love you all. May God bless America, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, Sean, you undersold it. There was multiple goosebumps moments in that for me.
Right.
I'm very happy with what he said. Um, I thought it was one of the best speeches. Of course, most acceptance speeches when people are elected. I remember vividly Bush every time he'd come out and he'd say the American people have spoken, but he'd always say now it's time to heal the divide. Even I think shockingly Trump said something like that in 2016. So yes, was it did he not? Did he not, Tara?
Yes, he did.
I think he did. I think he
Yes.
actually did.
Yeah.
His inauguration
He
speech.
came through trying to pull unity together.
He did try. He tried to say that.
I think he did try, and of course, he didn't say anything not out of the blueprint of what you'd expect for a victory speech, but I like what he said, especially about COVID. He's not waiting till January 20th.
Right.
He's getting to work now.
It was a good speech because he's trying to say, hey, look, you know what? We all got to come together. We got to stop the nonsense. And that's a good thing, and I support that. I think that's awesome. I mean, we're able to do that here on this show, and we don't hate each other. And I think that's great. I wish it was that way, along Facebook and Twitter and different things like that. It gets really ugly out there. Hopefully, I don't know. I'll talk about that later. Anyway.
Well, I know you've got an American idiot coming up that's going to shock a lot of people. But with that being said, I mean, the one thing, though, that I will say that I took away from it that I would hazard him to say is he had a mandate. I don't believe he has a mandate. He did, I believe, unless everything's not final yet, I think he did get over the 300 electoral vote margin. Yeah. So, yes, he did impressive. I don't believe he has a mandate. Of course, the country remains deeply divided. But, he addressed that. He said it's time to come to work together. Like I said, the only thing, if I were to nitpick, is saying he had a mandate. Manic Hispanic, what'd you think of it? What'd you think of his speech?
Provided me a lot of time to drink some beer. I appreciate that.
Tara, what did you think?
I thought it was really great. I mean, I really I enjoyed the message of unity, and I really loved that he was. I like that he actually brought up, people that voted for Trump. He was like, I understand that you're disappointed. I've been there a few times myself. I mean, and he has. He's ran for presidency 3 different times now, and he lost the last 2 times. But I really like how he brings them in on it. And, I feel like a lot of the times whenever Trump would be speaking about, anytime that he would speak, he would always divide and be like, Democrats are doing this. And it would just kind of like villainize them. I believe that Biden really wants to get away from the identity politics and go to a more unified message with everybody. It's not red, it's not blue, it's united. And I like that.
Well, especially he's been saying for the past, I want to say the last month of the election, he said, I won't be a president of the red states and the blue states. I'll be a president of the United States. Like, once again, even as I'm saying it, goosebumps. Like, that's awesome. I don't believe we've had a president like this. Okay, Obama was. I will say that. But, you go back to somebody like Clinton. I can't even say, and I like George W. I can't even say George W. would say things like that. So, I mean, I definitely like the things that he is saying. Now it's about come January 20th, is there going to be any action behind these words?
Right.
That's what's important.
And you got to remember, he's definitely starting at a better place because half of the administration isn't against him from the get-go.
Well, I mean, true, touche. I mean, Trump didn't endear himself to a lot of people in his administration from Jump Street, but we'll get into that because when
you've got the FBI actively trying to get you out and members of the administration actively trying to get you out, it's hard to do things.
I would agree.
But there are consequences for your actions.
Also true.
The only action he had at that point was being elected.
I mean, there's arguments to the opposite. Tropic Thunder, what did you think of President-elect Biden's speech?
I thought it was a great speech. It was exactly the speech I expected him to give as far as victory speeches go and the climate of our nation right now. I was very, very happy and refreshed, especially considering how we talk about COVID here in Arkansas. Oh, it was very nice and refreshing to hear what is probably about to likely be our next POTUS address COVID without making it into a hoax or like a political opinion. That's something that I was really happy to hear in that speech.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that statement. You know, he said that he's going to base his action plan on COVID on science. I like that. I mean, good Lord, we've just had a POTUS that is trying to verbally smack around a man that is the foremost expert on these infectious diseases around for the past 6 to 8 months in Dr. Fauci. Honestly, I feel sorry for poor Dr. Fauci at this point. Like, if that man wants to become a recluse, I don't blame him, because it seems like it's like whack-a-mole. Every time he sticks his head up to say something, Trump smacks him back down.
I think Fauci's going to be just fine. I think he's going to be a part of this new administration, and he's going to lead the team to where they need to go. I'm just happy that the next in line to the presidency doesn't think that the world's 6,000 years old. Right?
Well, you know, she is. You know, I talked to one of my friends this weekend about that. I said, you know, never has the phrase "you're a heartbeat away from being the president" meant so much.
Right?
I mean, and Joe has apparently been very open about saying, I realize I'm in my 70s, you know? I realize what that means. So, I mean, it's good that he's happy with who he chose should something happen. That's a scary thought for me, though. If that were to happen, that is a scary thought for me, just for the simple fact being in the mind frame that the country's currently in. That's something that I really hope does not happen in the next 4 years, is that he passes away. And unfortunately, I have to caveat that with by any means, because
I got no issue with it. I mean, if he passes away, cool beans. We got the first black female president ever in the United States. That'd be amazing.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you.
An old white guy dies. Okay, that happens every day.
I'll tell you this much. I've honestly not been this worried since Obama first got elected that somebody may. Colt 45's crazy. So, yeah. I mean, part of me wonders what Colt 45 may go to make sure that Biden doesn't make it to January 20th, if you're picking up what I'm putting down.
You think they're going to try to assassinate him and make a black woman the president? They're going to try to keep Biden alive. Are you kidding me? Colt 45 is going to be like the new Secret Service. They're going to be protecting Biden like nobody else. Come on.
Like, let's be real. Our biggest article of business, if we're talking about Colt 45, is keep her from actually being president at all costs.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's awful, but
I could see that, but yeah, it's just we're in a state of mind right now as a country that I don't think we've ever been in, and it's kind of scary how divided we are. I mean, you know, everybody touting that Joe got the largest amount of votes ever received. I think Trump is probably second on that list by this point. So that just shows you just how divided this country is now. Yeah, 70 million people voted for this man.
He came this close to victory.
Yes, absolutely.
This close.
It's close.
But and it's still not certified.
I think bringing that up is actually a good point, too, because you're right. This is the most divided we've been, and this is the most polarized that we've ever been. And so this message of unity and uniting everybody instead of doing, you know, a normal victory speech where you're just like, hey, you know, let's work together like, you know, Bush and Obama did. We have to bring up the fact that the United States is really divided. And so that's the reason why I believe Biden hit that so hard, is because that message of unity is so necessary right now in a world where, you know, it's basically 50-50. Like you said, it was a very close race. And I won't forget that, you know, half of America still voted for Trump a second time. So, there's definitely a lot of healing that needs to start going on.
And then, of course, 4,500 people in the state of Arkansas voted for Kanye.
Man, what is wrong? What are those people?
What have we done as a society that 4,500 people actually thought Kanye West was an
It's a
acceptable
good thing.
choice?
People
It's a
just
very
want to
good
get
thing.
crunk. That's all.
No, it's a very good thing if that information is kept secret and
It's not-
confidential, because I would literally drive around and just start punching people right in the forehead. Seriously.
I mean,
Oh, you mean who voted? Yeah.
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 I mean, honestly, and I did. I saw quite a few people in my Facebook feed say, if you voted for Trump, delete me. If you voted for Kanye, definitely delete me. And I mean, it's true.
You know what?
If you voted for Joe, thank you.
This whole ultimatum thing, though, that people have been throwing out there. I mean, families are being ripped apart by politics these days. It's fucking crazy.
They really are.
It's really stupid. I mean, Michael, you and I have talked about this several times, and I've said this growing up. People could talk about politics and religion, and they didn't hate each other. You might bust each other's balls. You might make fun of each other. You might even think that guy's a dumbass. But you know what? I still love that guy. You know what I'm saying? Or that girl or whatever. That's my friend.
Friendships weren't hurt by it.
Exactly.
Right.
But like you said, families are being torn apart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. I can't be Facebook friends with certain members of my family over this shit. My graduating class, there's only 40 of us. Guess how many I'm friends with? Maybe 4 or 5, if that. I mean, it's insane.
I'm friends with a lot of people that I graduated with from Greenbrier, but I forget that I graduated from Greenbrier.
I was going to say, I forgot you graduated from Greenbrier. I always thought you came here after you graduated.
The big highlight at the last school reunion that they had, my class reunion, was that I worship the devil. They were all talking about me because I'm an atheist. It was amazing, dude. That it's like I hadn't seen these guys in 30 years, but I was the belle of the ball.
We live.
They
live
sure
in the
knew
Bible
your
Belt,
business.
so
You
I
can
guess
tell
I
you
shouldn't be
graduated in a
surprised.
class of 40.
Right?
I guess I shouldn't be surprised. We live in the Bible Belt, for crying out loud. So
Wow.
Yeah.
40?
40 in my graduating class. Yes, only 40.
think
Yeah.
mine was
And
somewhere
I wasn't
in
the top of the
neighborhood
class, so I'll
250.
just I wasn't the
Mine-
bottom.
But I
Where was
graduated
Mike?
in Washington County, so they're all cool with me because that's a Democratic part of the state.
How many?
Mine was like 250.
Did you?
Okay. Ladies, what were your graduating classes?
Fucked if I know, but at Greenbrier, it's probably like 250, 200. Maybe I'm overshooting it. I honestly don't know. I went to school in Hawaii and Virginia Beach before that, and they were very large areas. So fuck me if you want to know how many people I graduated with in Greenbrier. I'm probably overshooting when I say 250.
Gotcha.
That sounds like too much, right?
Sarah?
Oh, I honestly have no idea. It was in Conway, like 15 years ago. So
It could have been 1,000 people. Yeah.
Yeah, mine was
Yeah.
12. I was in Springdale, so
I
yeah.
graduated in 1995, a class of 26.
Holy
Nice.
shit!
Mount Pine
Yes.
Schools, 26 people.
yeah, they
That's
were.
amazing.
Wait, my mom might be able to beat you. She graduated from Tafuna in American Samoa. It's a tiny, in a
Oh, is
village, in a literal village. So
Oh my goodness!
That's awesome.
Kindergarten through 6 was in one room.
What? Did you walk up?
7th through 12th grade was in one building in my hometown.
Did you walk uphill both ways to get there?
No, I wasn't that bad.
you
Yeah,
said
yeah.
7th through 12th grade was
7th
in
through
one
12th grade was
building?
in one building in my at my high school. Yeah.
Yeah, mine was
we
3
were the
grades.
same way. We had 7th through
Yeah.
12, and there were
Yeah.
2 halls.
Yeah. So like freshman
Big
initiation
L-shape.
week, man, that was such hell because you're a 7th grader when you first get to high school and you see
Yeah.
how the seniors are destroying those freshmen. You're like, holy shit, that's me in 2 years. No.
Yeah.
And you get to see that for the next 2 years. You're just like, no. It was terrible. It was terrifying. Yeah. But then again, it was 40 against 40. So yeah.
I was a sophomore in 2008, so I don't think we had too much. We didn't have too much of the initiation stuff. when I was going through when I went into high school, luckily. But yeah, we also didn't have freshmen though. We only had sophomore, junior, senior in my school.
I got kids older than you, Michael.
That's how Greenbrier was, and I thought that was really weird because in Hawaii they did 7th and 8th, and in Virginia they did 6th through 8th, and then everything was 9th through 12th. And you're a
Right.
freshman, so you for me, I'm like, why wouldn't they be in the same building? That's your freshman year. That counts
Wow.
towards your high school career.
It's
I
the
was so
Arkansas
confused.
education system. Anything that makes sense, throw it out the window.
Okay, so what's everyone's age here then?
I'm 30.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
43.
43. Okay.
I'm 20. How old am I? I'm not 30 yet. I turned 28 in December. I'm 27 right now.
Okay. Sean.
I'm old.
Sounds like 60.
Sean's like, I'm not answering this question. Okay.
I'm
I'm a-
47.
Younger than me.
47.
I'll be 48 next year. Yeah.
Okay, so Tropic Thunder is the youngest,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be 31 on November 14th.
I'll be
Good
31 May
demographic.
29.
Good demographic. I like this.
I was
Yeah.
looking at that. I was like, that's kind of awesome. Like that we really have a wide age range here. with
Right.
everybody.
Right.
That's really
But
cool.
like right here, we have a conservative. We have a conservative over there, liberal, and then liberal, and then of course I'm the leftist, progressive, like just
You damn
Marxist.
commie.
I'm the commie. So
You're
yeah,
a damn commie. Just admit it, Sean.
I'm almost there. I haven't quite gone all the way over, but I'm almost there.
Well,
If you
y'all,
guys would work with me to kill the boomers, then I'd be there, man. Just you really need to work with me on that. Come on.
you're getting as
I thought
bad.
that's what
You're
COVID
getting as
was
bad
about.
making me face palm as Trump does. And speaking of Trump, he is not going down without a fight. He has yet to
He's really
concede
not.
He doesn't
concede
have
the
to.
election. And we have an update from WKYC Channel 3 on the challenges.
With Joe Biden declared the winner of the presidential election, two things are happening this week. Biden launches his transition, and President Trump heads back to court to challenge the results. NBC's Tracy Potts has more of what you need to know.
The Biden transition starts with a coronavirus briefing this morning.
He'll be making announcements to the American people about how he's going to make good on these campaign promises.
President-elect Biden naming new members of his coronavirus task force, making remarks on the virus and the economy, working on a plan to begin January 20th.
That plan will be built on bedrock science. It will be constructed out of compassion, empathy, and concern.
Meantime, the Trump campaign is promising a new round of lawsuits today, challenging election results. In Nevada, they claim dead people voted and machines could not verify signatures.
We pointed out that the voter rolls in Clark County had a lot of improper voters, and we pointed out that the signature verification process and these things were simply not going to protect the system.
President Trump tweeting, since when does the lamestream media call who our next president will be? Certified results could take weeks.
Candidates have the ability to request a recount after the election. We are preparing for that.
Some Republicans are warning the president to tone down his language.
When you say that the election was corrupt or stolen or rigged, that's unfortunately rhetoric that gets picked up by authoritarians around the world.
Republicans pressing the president to back up his allegations.
Show us, because if you can't show us, we can't do this. We can't back you blindly without evidence.
So far, there's not much. But the Trump campaign is asking supporters to help pay for the lawsuits. They've set up the Election Defense Task Force to raise money for that. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
Hold up.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Did you know that the Election Defense Task Force or whatever is actually going to be going towards paying off his debt also?
No, I did not know that.
I was researching that earlier, actually, before this happened. They come out and said that he was trying to raise money for this, but it would also be going towards his debt that he owes as well. So he's going to, essentially, he's going to be scamming people that are believing that he has a case and that he's going to be taking those monies. The Trump fundraising for legal challenges would also pay down his debt.
So a couple things here that I gained from that. Number one, when Chris fucking Christie is telling you, hey, bro, I'm going to need you to tone it down, you need to tone it the hell down. George W. Bush came out and congratulated Joe Biden. Mitt Romney came out and congratulated Joe Biden, and you just heard him there say, if there's no evidence, stop.
Yeah.
You need to tone it down.
But you've watched this guy for 4 years. You've seen him lie consecutively 20, 30, 40 times a day on Twitter. Everything
they had
that he's
to cut
done.
away from him. The news coverage teams had to cut away from him.
He's
in
not
his
going to
address, I believe, Friday.
Yeah, he's never going to concede. That's just not going to happen. He doesn't have to. Okay. And he'll probably be like the Clintons when he leaves the White House. They're going to rip out all the phone lines and all the internet lines, and they're going to be really nasty about it. But the Clintons did that to the Bush administration.
I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
Yes, they ripped out all the cable. They ripped out all the phone lines. They ripped out all the internet. Everything that could be.
They stole all the copper from the White House?
No. They didn't do that. No.
I mean, it's the Clintons. Hold on. Let's go check and make sure.
Right. But no. I mean, it was kind of a nasty transition.
Yeah, that's
the Clintons. Yeah, all the people that worked for the Clintons in the West Wing, they kind of left a mess for the Bush administration. So I expect the same thing. The Trump administration is going to do the same thing. I'm sure there'll be a few turds on the floor too.
I posed this question to Sean on one of our update shows, so I'll ask you guys. It's January 20th. I'll start with you, Manic Hispanic. Does Trump actually attend the inauguration like every former president and do the right thing? Do you think so, Manny Hispanic?
I honestly think he will, because his days are numbered in the public eye.
I would agree there. I think he's got a ticket to some foreign country with that
still
extradition.
be in the picture somehow.
I agree. I think he's got like I said, a ticket to a country with that
I'll put
extradition.
it to you this way. If Trump hadn't been such a dick to McCain and McCain's family, he would have won Arizona, and we wouldn't be where we are right now.
True.
He was such a dick to McCain, to McCain's family, to the people that supported McCain, because he's this this macho dude. He thinks he's like the alpha male and all that. And dude, I think that was his biggest mistake. And the people of Arizona remembered that.
He just stood up for himself. So I'm not going to blame him on that.
Demeaning a war hero. I'm
agree.
sorry. John McCain was
war
the last.
hero's going to attack me and verbally abuse me. I'm going to do the same thing.
He didn't attack him.
He didn't attack him. John McCain was the last Republican I ever voted for. Okay?
He didn't attack him. Trump was the one who went after McCain.
Yeah.
For not voting, I believe, for the health care to get whatever was left of Obamacare to get taken out. He said no, and that's when Trump just went the fuck in on John McCain.
I'll find it for you.
Tolly, do you think Trump's going to actually attend the inauguration?
Tolly, what is your hair thing?
Drug out.
I think. Who am I kidding? I don't decide things for myself. My hair thinks that Trump will likely not be attending the inauguration.
I just, for real, I forget who said it, but it was somebody on the Democratic side said, the Secret Service is able to forcefully remove people who aren't supposed to be in the White House. I'm just saying, I'm here for it. Can we please put that on the news? I don't even need to see Joe's speech. I just want to see Trump drug out, kicking and screaming.
I'm all about abusing the elderly. So yeah, I just want to watch them throw them out the window like that Foley thing.
Oh,
yeah,
Lord.
Let's do it. Yes.
Oh man, just pick him up out of his chair in the Oval Office and toss him through those windows behind him.
Yes.
Is there an ejector seat?
Orange has been ejected.
Well, I know, Sean, you said you already said that you don't think that he'll attend. Tara, do you think he'll attend and eventually do the right thing?
Absolutely not. He already said he wouldn't too. I mean, he's not going to do it. And also, I think Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he's not going to do it.
And
you had to think for a second and just make sure.
Well, because if he's not going to concede with dignity and he's going to drag this whole thing or try to drag this whole thing through the mud, that whole democratic process through the mud and delegitimize it, then I definitely think that he's not going to show up on Inauguration Day now. And he will make history on that day, too, because everyone is going to be focused on the fact that Trump's not there for the inauguration because it's only happened 3 other times in the history of our country.
Oh, it has happened before.
Yeah, 3 times. Okay. It was John Quincy Adams, and one more I cannot remember off the top of my head, but he'll make history as being the 4th president that didn't attend a presidential inauguration. And that is what will be in the news, sadly. That's the thing that's going to. And so, like, he will
get the attention.
That's the kind of power that he holds on to, or people looking at him in situations where they should be looking elsewhere, and vice versa with the media. They should be focusing on Biden's inauguration and what's coming next. And instead, they're going to be saying, where was Trump? Where was Trump? And that's just going to validate further why he's not going to show up. I mean, I would be willing to bet money he's not there on Inauguration Day just to get the publicity of not being there.
Well, one thing I will say is that has shocked me. Like, I was hoping this was going to happen, but it did shock me. It seems like whether they're acting like they were bullied or Trump had some spell or knew where all the bodies were buried in their closets or what have you, the Republicans are kind of waking up a little bit and saying, no, this isn't how we do business.
Yeah.
I'm here for that too. Like, I'm enjoying that part too. All these high profile Republicans that he's either bullied into just saying yes, yes, sir, or he's ostracized from the party like he did George W. and John McCain.
Yeah.
Are finally like, hey, guess what? Fuck you.
But you know, all these Republicans speaking up against like the Trump rhetoric and style of, I guess, like not really running things, but I would say being a personality. Everyone's speaking out against that like lack of presidentialism. I think that's really important from the Republican Party, because for someone who doesn't ever want to see Tom Cotton anywhere near the White House,
right,
it's really going to erase personalities like that from politics.
It's going to happen.
Have reasonable people in there.
We're going to talk about that, Sean.
It's going to happen.
Well, I think one of the problems is that because Trump wasn't a politician, these other politicians didn't know how to act. So they kind of went along with it for a little bit, and then before they knew it, 4 years was up.
Okay.
Now they're trying to get back to who they were and saying, okay, in order to stay reelected, apparently we don't need to follow Trump because he just got voted out. So we better get back to what we were.
And what are they going to do? They're going to follow Tom Cotton next.
Before we move on, I want to laugh about this with y'all real quick. I saw this meme. It was actually a picture of a tweet. Somebody screenshotted it, and it said, "Oh, honey, if we were going to fix the election, Mitch McConnell would not have been reelected."
Yes!
Right.
You would think that we would fix something and not... Well, I guess I say we as a collective, we, like I'm a Democrat. No offense to Democrats. But, like, if it was rigged, you really think, one, Mitch McConnell would be there, and two, like, they wouldn't have taken over the Senate by several seats and... Like, what?
I mean, there's still a narrow path for them to
not
take
do
over the
anything
Senate.
that'll actually let us make changes.
There's-
Let's just take the seat.
We really, really needed to get Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham out of there, and we did not succeed in that. And then we pushed Georgia to a runoff election, and if we were going to cheat, we would just let them win. Why would we just won the 2 seats and then took the Senate? Like, that doesn't, it does not compute to me.
I am the Senate.
We are the Senate.
Manny Hispani, you look like you wanted to say something to that.
No.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just found it very humorous. I mean, it's true though. Like, why would Mitch McConnell, even me, once again a Republican, like I'm about to say something here when we get into how these next 4 years we believe it should look, that will probably shock a lot of people. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun there. Next up, we got Biden's COVID Taskforce, and we got a story from Bloomberg Quick Take Now on YouTube on the briefing he got today. So definitely keeping an eye on COVID. So I'm happy this is one of the first things he's looking at.
I've named a COVID-19 Transition Advisory Board comprised of distinguished public health experts to help our transition team translate the Biden-Harris COVID-19 plan into action, a blueprint that we can put in place as soon as Kamala and I are sworn in to office on January 20th, 2021. And we will seek to add other members to this board during this bring additional important perspectives on public health and expertise throughout the transition. This group will advise on detailed plans built on a bedrock of science and to keep compassion, empathy, and care for every American at its core, making rapid testing widely available, more widely available, much more widely available, and building a core of contact tracers who will track and curb this disease while we prioritize getting vaccines first to the most at-risk populations. Developing clear and detailed guidance, and providing the necessary resources for small businesses, schools, child care centers to reopen and operate safely and effectively during the pandemic, protecting both workers and the public. Scaling up productive life-saving treatments and therapeutics, and when it's ready, making sure an approved vaccine is distributed equitably and efficiently and free for every American.
Okay, so this is pretty much, that was Joe. First things first on that, I'm going to need somebody to give that man some fucking, notes so that that poor man doesn't look like a 70-some-odd-year-old man, because he does lose his train of thought a lot. And, it's not that I'm making fun of the guy. I can tell, because I do it. I lose my train of thought when I'm thinking. So somebody needs to help him with that, I do believe. As far as the COVID thing, though, I'm here for it. The only thing, like I told Sean, that worries me is I didn't see Fauci's name on that list of the experts he's using.
Well, the bottom line is Fauci was not the only expert, so the fact
but
that
he's the foremost expert in the country. I mean, you can't have a task force without if you have access to the best and brightest, why not use them?
Maybe he didn't add Fauci just because he's a part of the current administration. He doesn't know whether he's going to be fired or not, because Trump has threatened to fire the guy. And I'm sure if Trump does fire the guy, as soon as Biden accepts everything and takes his
Trump fired him, he would hire him.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's what I was getting to. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, Sean.
No, it's okay. Tropics Hair's already done that.
I do love your hair.
So I've got some interesting tweets on the subject from at real Donald Trump. He says as long as I have long said, Pfizer and the others would only announce a vaccine after the election because they didn't have the courage to do it before. Likewise, the US FDA should have announced it earlier, not for political purposes, but for saving lives. He went on to say, if Joe Biden were president, you wouldn't have the vaccine for another 4 years, nor would the US FDA have approved it so quickly. The bureaucracy would have destroyed millions of lives. And he also went on to say the US FDA and the Democrats didn't want to have me get a vaccine win prior to the election. So instead it came out 5 days later, as I've said all along. So, I mean, a lot to process there. Trump, of course, being Trump, says it's not my fault we don't have a vaccine. Everybody was against me. I'm pretty sure that no scientist is like, let me hold on to this until the end of the election. I'm just saying.
But that's the narrative that Trump's painting, because he thinks that the whole world's against him right now, and that's absolutely not the case. It's ridiculous to even think that. There's no conspiracy to try to hurt or throw Trump out of office, by any nefarious means. No one is holding back a COVID vaccine just so it makes Trump look bad. I mean, that's just horseshit.
I mean, it reminds me of what Democrats said in '80 about Reagan and Carter with the Iran hostages. But now it's Trump saying, oh, you guys waited on the vaccine until Biden won. Instead of, oh, you waited to release the hostages until after Carter was out. Like, it's the same. I don't buy either of them. I think it's absolutely asinine to say that a scientist would wait on something so important.
Yeah.
Right.
It's also
like they get famous for that shit.
Yeah.
Do you think someone's gonna wait on their notoriety, on their moment to shine and be
Exactly.
acclaimed worldwide?
Because
And
nobody knows their names.
They want it under control because it's deadly.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say about that too is Trump hasn't always said that. In fact, all the times that he got up there and spoke, he would constantly reiterate, "Oh, we're going to have a vaccine soon in a
2
couple
weeks.
We'll have one in a couple weeks. We're going to have
2
one in a
weeks.
couple weeks." Now he's been saying the whole time that they were going to wait till Biden was elected until they come back with a vaccine. And that just seems like that's just more rhetoric and more change in what he says. If it's going for him, it's going to be out in 2 weeks. But if it's against him and, then it's someone else's fault. It's just more blame. I just don't.
I would agree.
And you know what's crazy too? I mean, you mentioned the notoriety that these scientists will, gain from this. I mean, it's not like they're a host on this show. Nobody knows who we are except that one guy in Cummins, right?
Yeah.
No, seriously, it's just ridiculous for him to even try to switch the narrative that way, because he did literally say in 2 weeks, and he said it so much that my wife and I made a joke about it from Total Recall. 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Every time he would say it, So yeah, he thinks no one's paying attention, and he's just
of course
wrong.
it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It's going to be the best vaccine you've ever seen.
Huge.
If you want to really get into it, I mean, Trump backed other medicine, whenever it was supposed to be. And so who is really politicizing this? Who's the one that's really gaining from it? Who's the one that's bought into? Yeah, John's like, it's him. It's me. No. So, I mean, you really just can't play both sides and be like, well, everyone was against me, but also I was buying into all of this, and we were going to have a vaccine in 2 weeks every single day for the last 5 months. Which one is it? It's the inconsistency that drives me crazy. I think the last 4 years have been a roller coaster because everything is so inconsistent. I mean, a lot of them are just straight up lies that you can fact check yourself, but the inconsistency while waiting on the lies to come through, it's like, we know it's not real, but we don't know yet for sure because we don't have evidence, but there obviously will be evidence soon. And that continues to be what it is with him.
Absolutely. I mean, my thing is this, like you mentioned that he was supporting I want to say it's like hydrochloroquine that he was supporting. I don't believe he was treated with that either. So whenever he was at Walter Reed,
he was treated with the cells of dead babies.
Yes, he was. Speaking of which, Ben Carson also tested positive. I believe it came out today, but he put out a message saying that you didn't see that, Sean?
Didn't
Ben
he
Carson
die already?
No, that is what was his name? The Godfather's Pizza guy. The Godfather's Pizza.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. Herman Cain. Herman Cain died. Yeah. Ben Carson. Yeah, I mean, he's the other black guy. So, yeah.
Oh, you got me
You're
wanting
shitty.
to. No, I don't know why.
There were only 2, and they're both going to die? I mean, come on.
Well, no, actually, Ben Carson came out today after the news and said
he's
that,
gay?
Do what?
You said he came out. He's gay?
He went on Facebook and gave an update saying that he is feeling much better and he's still quarantining and things like that. But yes, he did come out on Facebook saying he's fine, Sean. So
let's thank Zod for that.
True. But no, Manic Hispanic, you haven't gotten to talk in this. What do you think about some of the things Trump's saying? Because she's right. Before the election, it was, hey, we're going to have a vaccine as soon as possible, and y'all just need to hold on and wait for it, and we got this. And now they were holding it. They were holding it, waiting for me to lose.
Trump was never a career politician. He has always done business the way he has done business and has pushed things through that normally didn't happen. He thought he could do the same thing with these other career politicians, but they're not going to look bad for him.
But that doesn't necessarily speak to the double speak we're getting here. Like, I'm confused. I guess explain your train of thought here for me.
That he was pushing for them to come on and get this vaccine out.
Okay.
And in his mind, yes, they could have gotten it quicker than they really did. Now, obviously, he wasn't there in the labs where they're testing everything. So what information did he really have? The other side of that would be how many people that wanted him to look bad fed him bad information so that he would say, yeah, we'll have it in 2 weeks.
I don't think Trump listens to the people that feed him information.
Well, neither do I, but still a thought.
I mean,
and I think several times Fauci would come forward, or other people would come forward and say that's not true. We don't have a vaccine yet. We don't think that, we're going to get one this soon. We think it's definitely going to be towards the end of the year or beginning of next year even. There was a lot of times where doctors and scientists had to correct what he would say during speeches or during press conferences, because he would just go off on his own tantric and this is what I think, and we're going to get this done, and we're going to do it. But there was no evidence backing it. It was just him.
And that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what he thought. He was really thinking that it would happen. I don't think he was legitimately lying to the American people. I really believe that he thought this stuff.
He may have. I mean, I could buy that he legitimately thought that they were going to do this.
With no evidence.
Even if it's his own ego, that he thought, I'm Donald effing Trump and I can get this done,
Instead of them clocking out at 5, they'll stay on.
I mean, hey, it is what it is. But even now, now that they've announced the vaccine, even now they're saying, I believe it was Fauci came out today and said that even if they come out by the end of the month with this vaccine, before it's widely distributed, we're still looking at next year. And they're still looking this time next year.
They still have to test, yeah.
Yeah, they have to test it, and those testing times. I have a friend who's a scientist, and she was telling me about the process on that. They'll test it, then they'll go through human trial tests, and then so we don't actually know if the vaccine is actually going to work. We just know that we have something that might be far enough to where we can test it. It's going to take months still for it to come out. Like I said, I honestly predict probably mid next year.
Yeah. I mean, I would not be surprised. And like I said, I wouldn't even be surprised if it's...
I'm being told by my wife that 43...
about 43,000.
Okay, 43,000 people have taken the vaccine, 90% success rate,
and no side effects.
No side effects.
Well, that's outstanding, honestly. I know Pfizer's one of the leading. Go ahead, Sean.
Can we test that on the boomers first?
Sean, stop it.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need your wife to get one of them spray bottles to just spray you when you get out of line.
She would not spray me for that one.
I'm just saying. But no, I mean, we're looking at this thing, and we're still, nobody has really moved the needle on this, and yet Donald felt the need to take to Twitter and say, "Oh, I'm being screwed. Y'all held out on it."
He's
so
always,
on and so forth.
He's always the victim.
Screwed.
Yeah,
he has a victim mentality. He's been treated worse than any president in the history of the country.
The one that got shot in.
Yeah.
Right. Both
exactly.
of them.
Yeah. Even though 2 have been.
He's done more for black people since Abraham. For black people since Abraham Lincoln, by the way.
And no one acknowledged that, and he feels really bad about that. Yeah. Those bone spurs. I mean, my God, those were debilitating, and no one has sympathy for him. God damn it. Come on.
We're just a bunch of assholes.
I am. I really am. Yes, I am. I am. Yes.
But no, I mean, it's one of those things that it's crazy. We're still looking at record numbers. I think today, Arkansas just passed 800 people that are currently in the hospital receiving care for COVID-19. Arkansas alone.
Arkansas is doing terrible, guys. I don't know even how we deal with this at this point. It's gotten so far out of control that there's no way that we can reel this in. I mean, and our governor, Asa, is not doing anything at all to make it better
He's doing press conferences every day. I mean, that builds my confidence.
I'll say this much, though, and I'll defend Asa for a second. When Asa tried to do something with the mask mandate, the cops came out and said, we ain't enforcing that. Like,
yeah.
There's not much Asa can do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, we do need to, I don't know. We could have taken care of this way back in March.
With a small shutdown.
Yeah,
they could have shut the country down for 2 goddamn weeks and just shut everything down. They could have done that.
Other
And
countries
yes,
are doing that.
it would have sucked and it would have been bad, but 200,000 plus people wouldn't be dead right now.
Yeah, we
I
should have shut it
completely
down.
agree. And everybody that's out there, while we're talking about COVID, everybody that's out there, oh, Biden's going to shut the country down. Oh, Biden.
No, he's not.
Honestly think he is going to exhaust every option he can before he does that.
He's a neoliberal. He is not going to shut the country down because he is 100% for capitalism. And yeah, he's going to keep the machine going.
But I do believe they will get the stimulus checks sorted out whenever he is. Because that is to be the main thing, whether we shut the country down or not. We need to be paying people right now because so many people are out of work and unemployment is so high. We really need the stimulus checks back into the economy.
Damn it, if we really wanted them stimulus checks, all we had to do was re-elect Trump. He said if we re-elected him, he'd get them damn stimulus checks out.
Right?
I'm just saying, the man bribed us.
Re-elect me.
Where's my money, bitch?
Bitch, better have my money.
Hold up. Does he get the stimulus checks for the people that voted for him, for the 70 million that voted for him, and just
He
say, fuck
should.
the rest of us?
He really should. He can look at those numbers. Yes. Yeah, he should do that. He won't.
Saying, he won't.
Yeah,
No.
Absolutely not. I mean,
here's a funny thing too. Everybody thinks that he's like, a billionaire and all this other bullshit. What's really funny about Trump is the last time that the Powerball lottery got up to like 300 million, they were saying the winner of that particular ticket, if it was a single person, would have more money than Donald Trump has had in the last 10 years.
Well, a lot of his net worth is tied up in like properties and stuff too, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got two saying no and one saying yes, or one saying no and two.
That was asset.
Yeah. A lot of his stuff he doesn't own anymore. He's lost so much over the last decade. I mean, the guy is not even a billionaire. Okay, he makes these false claims that he is. He is a millionaire. I'll give him that much, but he does not have as much as what most people think. He's on the cusp of actually losing everything.
Yes,
it's pretty sad.
Well, to say somebody's going to lose $1 billion is kind of over my head.
The only thing that he has is his name, and that's where he makes his money. The Trump name.
Well, yes, absolutely. I mean, but you go to a Trump golf course, and even now, if I went to a Trump something with his name bearing it, I would expect the best of the best and like high class shit and so on and so forth.
They have run out of money. About 3 weeks before the election, they started to run ads and events and stuff on credit cards and cut costs. That's part of the reason why they actually canceled the election party that night, because they were going to pay for all of the COVID restrictions as well, and they didn't want to do it, and so they canceled the election party. But he's not doing nearly as well as everyone thinks. I mean, a lot of people for some reason think that he's like this millionaire that has all this money and he's just a successful businessman. He's running out of money. I think he has actually spent the bulk of his money on this election, and then to lose it and now go and ask his supporters for money for, defense funds, which he's going to turn around and use to pay off his debts.
Yeah.
I think that kind of shows you what kind of business person he is.
He is one of the worst. He is one of the worst businessmen in the history of this country. He really is.
Businessman.
One thing I will say about Colt 45, if he was just blatant about it, they probably would still give him money. Even if he was just
all
blatant
he'd have to do is just be like,
look,
this is what I need. I need you to start a GoFundMe account. Make it huge. Send me all the money that you can. Huge. Come on. And they would bail him out.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely do think that.
But first, he would have to admit who he owes, guys. Come on. Like, are we not all curious who he owes?
I definitely am.
I mean,
I think it's Putin.
I would like to know what country he's in debt with.
Well, there's like 3 or 4 that are. There's only like 3 or 4 countries that refuse to call Joe and congratulate him, and one of them is Russia, saying, "Hey, we're gonna wait until after this litigation's done with before we call Joe."
Heiser says he has the behaviors of an uneducated, broke-ass gold digger. I like that. That's pretty good.
I'm not mad.
I ain't saying he's a gold digger.
Right?
Hey, I'm just saying that plan backfired. I still think that was. I'm still on the conspiracy theory bandwagon that he was just there to take votes away from Biden. But it is what it is. The other thing, though, that I'm interested in finding out is how this plays out after January 20th. Does he leave the country and go to some place where they don't have extradition laws? What does that look like? Are we talking Russia? Are we talking China? Where are we talking? Or does he just go back to Florida and wait 4 years and bide his time?
No, he's gonna go back to Florida. He'll go to Mar-a-Lago. He's gonna be convicted of some bullshit out of New York, right? That's gonna happen. And guess who's gonna pardon him? It's gonna be Biden. Biden will pardon his ass.
Ooh,
yes,
Okay, wait a minute. You lost me.
Biden will pardon him.
Why?
To bring about unity.
Unity.
Right?
Well, I could see him pardon himself before Biden would have to.
Actually, he can do that right now. He could actually do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
In case of future.
He can sign it.
Yep.
He actually could. I'll be there.
Yeah.
But I do know that they were reporting last week that he was telling his aides that if he lost this election, he fully expects the New York prosecuting attorney to turn up the heat and come after him on this shit.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I'm wondering is what exactly we're about to see, because half the country thinks he's leaving the country and half the country thinks he's going to wait 4 years and run.
Well, because half the country heard him say that he would leave the country.
Right. I don't think he would.
Everything he says.
Yeah.
I mean, he's what? He's 77 now, so he would be 81.
God.
You think he's going to last that long? His brother just died.
God bless.
I think Donald's going to die in the next 4 years.
Here's what I think is actually going to happen. I do not think that he himself is going to run again. It's going to be his brother or his son or his daughter. They're going to be the ones that try.
I've heard those names being.
I made a joke that it's going to be an Eric with Ivanka ticket, and the whole MAGA crowd's going to go crazy for it. But then I realized that's not so much of a joke as I feel like it might be an accurate prediction.
Yeah, possible reality.
But an Eric Trump with Ivanka, they couldn't beat a Tom Cotton in a debate.
I mean,
I think
how
the
many
sensationalism,
Donald didn't win a
the
single
coattails they
fucking
could
debate
ride
he
on.
was in.
I think the coattails they could ride on would carry them a long way. Just to be
I don't
honest.
think so. I think this is the end of the experiment. I think once Trump is out, that's it. No one's going to take the Trump family seriously anymore.
That depends on how bad they leave a stain. Like, it depends on what we do to make sure that they don't run again, or to make sure that they don't have the popularity to run again.
I don't think he would make it through the primaries again.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of people out there that back the Trump. They just back the Trump. They just back the Trump name. It doesn't even matter what it is.
The whole family.
Just back the Trump. It's like mob rule.
I mean, I sent you that video today, Michael, where the white supremacist. Did you watch that one?
I don't think I got that one. The only one I saw was Dave Chappelle.
This guy played.
It was Sean's family.
No, it was not my family. No, but this white supremacist plagiarized an entire speech from Hitler, and it was this pro-Trump white supremacist. It was all about the blood. You have to trust family more than you do anything else. These are our enemies. We have to kill and destroy them. It was some insane shit. And it just happened today. I sent that to you, Michael. You should have looked at that.
The only one I got through was the Dave Chappelle monologue that we're going to talk about here in a little bit from Saturday
My bad.
night.
I should have made sure you got it.
Yes, you should have. Shame on you, Sean. Shame on you.
Watch the opening of SN. I know it's changing the subject, but did you?
We were going to talk about it. Yeah,
we're gonna get to that. I'm not sure if I'm gonna play the whole thing, but we're definitely gonna get to it.
It's like a 20-minute monologue.
Yeah, it's like 16 minutes.
20-minute opening. It was crazy.
Yeah, but he said some good things. But we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more American Idiots. Each and every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, join Money Mike, Tropic Thunder, Fox, the Manic Hispanic, and of course the pretty boy Sean for the American Idiots podcast, a look at the most divisive headlines in our country, and we present all sides of the argument. It's the American Idiots podcast, live on Facebook and YouTube at the American Idiots podcast pages and on Talk Radio 49. Each and every Tuesday night, join Michael Carnahan and Lisa O'Brien at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for the Clear and Convincing podcast, where they look at the most important cases in our country's history, not from the court of public opinion, but from the court's perspective. It's the Clear and Convincing podcast right here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, along with Talk Radio 49. Each and every Sunday, join Duck, Michael Carnahan, and the pretty boy Sean Castleberry as they give you your weekly wrap-up in all things entertainment and conspiracy. It's the Shenanigans podcast right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Talk Radio 49.
It's a great time to be a Star Trek fan. Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, and now the fan fiction Star Trek graphic novel, Star Trek Audacious. Join us in the Star Trek Audacious podcast to discuss the book and even add your ideas to upcoming issues. Star Trek Audacious, for the fans, and by the fans. Come join us.
But real quick, what we're going to talk about next is how we believe the Biden administration should handle this divide in the country. So the reason why I bring up this topic is because me and Sean got into quite an impressive little debate about this. I believe it was Saturday or Friday night, the last time we did an update. as to what the Biden administration should look like, what Congress should look like after January 20th, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll get into that in just a moment, but real quick, we have a news story from 5 News.
Claudia Liza, Pennsylvania is the birthplace of American democracy, and it might yet deliver one of its most decisive moments ever. The counting is continuing here. We're awaiting other results as well, though. The consequences of what Donald Trump said last night. Will he stoke the anger even further on these streets here? And what will his supporters do if he loses?
He seemed more dejected than defiant. Who knows whether deep down he truly realises it himself. But this looks and feels like the end game of the Trump presidency. So what next? The counting continues in the last few remaining states like Pennsylvania. But the Trump team suggests those who've been tallying the votes around the clock aren't being diligent but negligent. This legal expert, himself a great-grandson of a president, says these bones of contention will be unlikely to change the final result.
One of the interesting things about the lawsuits that have been filed so far is even if the Trump campaign wins with them, it doesn't change the outcome. So they're complaining about not being allowed to stand as close as they want to watch the counting of the votes, for instance. And I don't know whether that's a frivolous claim or not, but even if they win, that's not going to disqualify 20,000 mail-in ballots. So it does seem as though a lot of what's going on is as much a battle for public opinion as it is for legal rights or for votes.
They're going to count. But the mystery votes out of the basement, they're not going to count.
But what next for the most loyal Trump supporters? In Philadelphia, they continue to battle with those who say every vote in this election needs to be counted. Those backing Trump continue to ask why postal votes were allowed to arrive for 3 days after Election Day.
If they were not here on November 3rd with a stamp, they do not count. If they come after with a stamp, they still count. But the ones without a stamp and the ones without a stamp that came here after the election, they don't count. Because if those votes mattered, they would have been here November 3rd.
And there are those hoping Mr. Trump will concede as soon as possible.
A great gift to the people of the world would be people in this country taking to the streets in peaceful, non-violent, but determined protest. It would be a gift to drive out this fascist regime. And people will be dancing in the streets around the world when that happens.
His supporters wanted him to make America great again. So that unproven claim that this election was stolen from him will be chanted for months.
So, Julian, is counting there finally nearing its end?
There are tens of thousands of votes still to go. Joe Biden took the lead around 3 hours ago. If he wins here, he gets those 20 Electoral College votes, which takes him well over the 270.
Okay, that's enough of that. That was actually a news story from Saturday, but it still hits the divide I want to talk about here in this country. So I'm going to preface this by saying what I said Friday. And Sean is probably instantly going to shut me down because Sean wants them to go just as extreme as humanly fucking possible. But for Biden to be an effective leader, he has to lead from the center. And what I believe is 2 parts. His cabinet needs to be made of both Republicans and Democrats, and both the House or the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, does not need to be the Senate Majority Leader anymore, and the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, needs to be removed as well. Both of them are very defiant. They dig their heels in, and they are not helping a damn thing right now. I believe, I threw out a name. I don't know if he's interested in being in the public specter anymore. But one of the names I think he should honestly look at is Colin Powell in his cabinet. Sean's hating on me on that one. I think that once again, it's an olive branch to the right side of the aisle. You have to give something to get something in this idea, and you're proving that you're going to work with people. Sean, I'll unleash you. Go ahead.
Biden needs to come out swinging. He needs to go as hard as Trump did. No mercy at all whatsoever. Take everything that you can. You're going to lose the election anyway, the re-election. Biden will not win in 4 years. He needs to do everything that he can to get anything that he can at this point. That's what he needs to do.
Tara, you disagreed when you were there with me until I said Colin Powell.
Okay. Well, I think age is going to play a huge factor in this election process for some reason. We're all looking at age. We're looking at elderly people. We want younger people. That's what we want. We want a younger demographic just across the board. We're tired of old people. And even though we just elected an old one, we didn't do it willingly. We did it once.
Right.
It was between two old people. And so one of them had to be president. So here we are. I agree with Sean to an extent, but I just know that Biden isn't that kind of guy. And I know that he's not going to go hard and swing because you can tell by the way that he held himself back during the election. I mean, he had every opportunity to go to Twitter war or say whatever he wanted to say. Instead, what did he do? He was quiet. He said, keep the faith. He kept everything silent. And then that's the high road that he takes. And so he's going to continue to do that. But I do believe that because he has been in office for a long time and been working on both sides, that I think personally, he will be able to get more conservative and Republicans to work with him. Maybe not Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi. I completely agree with you on that. Mitch is a Trumper. He's not a Republican. He is loyal to not even party, but person. And that's terrible. Pelosi is the same. I think she's nasty. And I don't think that she wants to work together and unify. I think she wants to push her agenda just like Mitch does. And that's why it was so important to get Mitch out. But here he is. Mm-hmm. So that is what I think needs to happen, is that we need to work on bringing in people that are going to be younger and more diverse. And that is what's going to be, I think that's what's going to be the important thing about this campaign, is that for the first time, we're going to bring in a youth dynamic.
You know, the one thing, though, that Sean did post to me, and I did not have an answer, and I still don't. If not Nancy, who? Because AOC will be just as left as...
No. Nancy Pelosi.
So the question
Nancy Pelosi is not a leftist. You got to stop that right now. AOC is not a leftist.
Nancy Pelosi has a bad reputation.
Nancy Pelosi isn't. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi is a centrist. She's a neoliberal. She's all about capitalism. Okay. AOC is the exact opposite of her.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think AOC is who we're going for.
Need her to be not trying to move.
No, America's not ready for a progressive woman like AOC to be the speaker. That's just not going to happen. Okay, I mean, that's like Hillary Clinton running for president. America was not ready for a woman to be president. It's too
Hillary was
Texas.
Just unelectable. We've had this.
I would agree with
this
that.
discussion.
No, I would agree
Hillary
with that.
was completely unelectable.
I would agree with that.
And it had nothing to do with her being a woman.
No, it had everything about her being a woman. Everything.
It did. America wasn't ready for a woman president.
I think her last name is what fucked her, and her air of confidence.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think her last name fucked.
I think a part of that
she has
is
that
correct.
last name without being Bill. That's what fucked her.
I think a part of that is correct because a lot of people were saying it was her turn, and that was wrong. And people should not have been so confident in that, that statement right there. That shouldn't have happened. But she being a woman, no, they're not gonna. The only way a woman is going to become president is like if Joe Biden dies and Kamala Harris actually gets it by default, and then we would have the first woman president.
I will shock you with this statement. Kamala has grown on me more than Joe has. I actually like Kamala more than Joe.
So you like the black girls? That's awesome. I approve.
Damn it, Sean! I hate you. Anyway, Tropic Thunder had
all conservative black guys that have COVID are the same.
By the way, I would just like to address not only dude named Kermit, because that's just hilarious to me. Dude's name was Kermit, but the dude who they interviewed, the Trump supporter that they interviewed, every vote should count. Every vote should count. Like, I was over here dying. I know I'm immature as shit, but that shit was hilarious to me.
I mean, they did find the one black guy that was there. They shouldn't have
know,
done
right?
that.
The one.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's like, hey, throw token out there. That's not cool, dude. Come on. I mean, like, they should have interviewed him first. He has a speech impediment. That's not fair. So all the
I'm immature. Shut up.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to make fun of the guy, and I felt bad for him. That shouldn't have happened. They should have put, like my mother-in-law up there. That'd have been great.
Okay, Tolly, what do you think? Do you think that how do you think this is going to look? I would agree with Tara about the you are going to need some youth in this. I would agree with that.
Oh yeah, I think Tara hit the nail on the head. When you talk about politics with anyone anymore, and I think it goes as far as, when you're talking to a very, very young voter, like early 20s, and even to the extent of talking to a voter that's near 50, that's a really common point people keep making. Why is it two old men? What's with all these old men? Why are all these people career politicians? So I think youth is going to play a vital role in how we handled the divide in this country. I think that Nancy Pelosi, I don't know but there's so much divide regarding Pelosi on every side of the equation. Like, everyone hates her.
There's still that.
You
there's
could get
still
that chick from Hawaii.
Oh, I love Tulsi Gabbard. Don't even play
Yeah,
with her.
that would be a good one.
She would be a good one. That she's a veteran. A lot of people respect her. I think she would be a great pick.
That would be a good one. That would be a good one.
She would be a great choice. When you're talking about her history as well, not just being a vet, but the way politics work in American Samoa, where she's from, where we're from, because I'm from there as well. The way that she would handle politics with those same like roots and veins, I think it would be enough that the conservatives would feel really comfortable with, like, I don't want to use the word ritual. That's not the right word. But I'm having a hard time finding lack of a better word. But like tradition, like the traditional values, but with forward thinking. I think someone like that would be amazing.
Oh, that would be a good choice.
Seat.
We mentioned Nancy, and I think we do have to talk about the elephant in the room. I'll get your opinion here in a second, Manic Hispanic. But I do also think we need to talk about the elephant in the room after we do get Manic Hispanic's opinion about this thought that, she has dropped the bomb and she hasn't exactly explained herself about the 27th Amendment. So that's still an elephant in the room about what the hell she's talking about, and talking about bringing that up. But go ahead,
She's gonna kill the boomers.
Anyway, go ahead, Manic Hispanic. What do you think? Do you think that we're going to have to see a centrist and Republicans and Democrats in this administration?
We are going to have somebody handle everything with kid gloves, because if it comes out swinging the way Sean is saying that he should, everybody is going to freak out, thinking that Trump was right. He's just going to be a dictator, and he's coming to make all these changes. And so, yeah, he definitely has to handle things with the kid gloves. You still have half of the nation that is going to be bitter and salty about all of this, and you can't just force them to get over it.
And I agree with that. I think that, Joe realizes that, and that's why I said I think that he will at least even just one token Republican voice that they lock in the fucking closet of the White House instead of letting them in the meeting. Like, he's going to have somebody there that, hey, look, I've got a Republican in my cabinet. He's going to have that person. But
young Republican then.
I would agree.
So
I would agree. I'll tell you.
How come Trump can come out swinging and do everything that he wants to do? But
nobody on this show wanted Trump to come out swinging.
He's maintaining the status quo.
He had nothing to lose by coming out swinging.
Exactly. Well,
why
except
can't
an election.
He had a lot to lose.
Biden's going to lose anyway in 4 years. He should go for the gusto. He should go for everything that he can. He cannot win in 4 years.
Okay, but Sean, we don't want the same exact situation on the opposite aisle to happen for 4 years. That doesn't bring unity.
We don't want to build another Trump. We don't want to build another Trump.
He may not be able to go in, but he could screw up a bunch of other people's chances of getting it.
I'll tell you this much. This thought just occurred to me, and I know Sean's going to completely rebuke this one, but we talk about younger people in the Republican Party. I automatically look to the guy I supported 4 years ago, Marco Rubio. I think
A lot
he's
of young
great.
people voted
He
for Trump.
supports a pathway to citizenship. He doesn't really deviate from a lot of the stuff Biden said. I think Rubio may be a good spot for either. I don't think he could possibly get majority leader, but maybe a cabinet position somewhere.
I actually met Marco Rubio a few years ago. He came and spoke at UCA, and I was there, and that's my major. I stayed there afterwards and got to talk to him, and he was really. I think the problem with him at the time was that he was so regurgitative, and he was more like a robot for the Republican Party, and he hadn't yet developed his own ideas of what he wanted from his political platform. When he was running, everything just sounded robotic. Rubio is what I called him, because he didn't have his own outside of what Republicans were traditionally saying. He didn't have anything that was like different than that. But I've watched him change over the last 4 years. I've watched him grow an opinion. I've watched him stand up against Trump numerous times in situations where other Republicans would stand down and didn't say anything. So I would say that Marco Rubio really isn't that bad. And there are things that I do agree with and I get along with. There's a huge difference. And I know this is the first time I've been on this podcast talking about this, but there is a huge difference between people that support Trump solely and then Republicans, that voted for Trump because he was Republican Party. There's a difference.
I agree.
I have friends with a lot of Republican people, and I realize that it is easy for me to have conversations with them and still remain friends with them on both sides of the aisle. Whereas some hardcore Trump supporters, on the other hand, you just can't do that.
Colt 45. That's all you need to say. Colt 45.
That is, I was wondering what that is the whole time I've been in this podcast. Like, what's Colt 45?
Colt 45 is these hardcore Trump supporters that are just insane.
So, but that's a play. That's a play on Colt 45, which Billy D. Williams used to promote in commercials in the 70s and the 80s. So
see, now
that's where they get
my time, so I wouldn't know.
You millennial. Be quiet.
But I mean, that's definitely interesting that you spoke with Marco. I'm actually really interested in that. That's really cool.
It sounded like you said she smoked with Marcio. That's great.
She smoked with Marcio.
She did not smoke with Marco.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
That would be Willie. That would be Willie, Sean. That would be Willie.
Yeah. I also interviewed Congressman French Hill too. It was
I bet that was interesting.
It was when I was still trying to figure out where I was headed on the political platform, and then now I'm just kind of pushed more and more. I mean, I've had to. I feel like this has been the most polarizing 4 years I've ever seen in politics. And of course, like I said, I'm only 30, but in my lifetime, I've watched it drive people farther left and farther right, whereas we kind of used to be more centered, just all of us. And now it's pushed us one way or the other. And
we're wearing jerseys at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Team this and team this. And it's like, come on, we got to find that solid middle ground again where we can work together, but not in the way that we're so divided right now. It can't be all one thing or all the other thing. We have to find a way, and Mitch isn't going to do that. So
I would absolutely agree with that statement. It's interesting you said that about French because, and I told Sean this, I don't know if I told you two this, but French was actually the one Republican on this ballot that I kind of waffled a little bit. I ended up voting for Joyce Elliott, but I kind of waffled because the old Republican in me was like, oh shit, hey, French ain't done nothing too crazy. So I was like, maybe, but no, I ended up voting for Joyce. But there was a part of me there for a second that thought about it. But you're right. I mean, Trump is literally the reason why I've equated it to Reagan talking about the Democrats in the 80s, where he said he didn't leave the party, the party left him. I feel like the current Republican Party is too damn extreme for me. They're crazy.
Yeah.
Damn it! What were we talking about before we?
I know.
On this tangent.
And I'm sorry.
I know we're talking about that. I know we're talking about the divide in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll just ask you.
Pelosi and the Speaker and who the cabinets might be.
Well, Sean, I'll ask you though. Are you happy with who the current speaker and majority leader are, or who would you replace them with? Obviously, I know you'd replace McConnell with.
I'd replace
Democrat.
everybody if I could. Yeah, I absolutely would. Even Biden and Kamala at this point.
That is one thing I would agree with. As far as Congress goes, fuck them all.
Yeah.
After this COVID shit,
we don't need all this division and all this bullshit and everybody hating each other because of the color of their skin or because how much money they make or don't make or if they're on welfare or not. I mean, just all these things that just fucking divide everybody. The one thing that Trump did to polarize his base was, look, you guys can be just like me. He dangled that carrot in front of his party.
You're damn well
you're
at
all potential millionaires. That's the American dream.
Good at it.
You can be just like me if you work hard enough, which is bullshit. Okay?
Absolutely.
Some of the hardest working people that I've known in my life are the poorest people that I've ever known in my life. Okay? And that's the truth about America. America's a fraud. Okay? The rich have always been rich. They've always passed their wealth on to their children. And it's become an oligarchy in this country. And that's what we need to fight against and we need to go against. Okay? People like Biden support that system. I voted for him because I don't want Trump in there anymore because Trump is he's too ludicrous and he lies too much and people do believe his bullshit. But Biden is dangerous because he plays the game and he supports it. So that's the difference between the two. I don't 100% support Biden, but he's better than the alternative.
Right.
I'll say it like this. I was telling somebody earlier, they were asking me, what do you think a presidency of Biden is going to be like? I said, I think that he is going to be more of a, he's not going to be a transformative president. He's going to be a transitional president.
Yeah.
He's going to fix things and do damage control from what has happened with our country the last 4 years. And then he's going to hand off the keys to somebody else that's more progressive. And they're the ones that are going to be the transformative ones. And this goes back to what I said earlier. I said, I honestly, truly believe that the GOP party is dying. I really believe that it is to an extent because there are going to be a lot of people who jump ship after this. And a lot of them did. And they voted for Biden this time around and they were Republicans. I spoke to a lot of people who were Republicans that said, I have voted a Republican ticket, for 30, 40 years. And I'm voting for Biden this year because I just cannot stand that Trump does not represent Republican voices. He just doesn't. He represents himself. And there's so many people that are loyal to the party that didn't vote for him this year. And it shows, obviously it shows from the votes, but I think one of the biggest things that we're going to have to realize is that Biden may not be the transformative president that we want, but he's definitely going to be the person that can help us transition to our next steps for our future.
And that's definitely something we need to set the precedent on here, I believe, for everybody that thinks Biden's about to come in here and be the second coming of Barack Obama, calm yourself. Pump your damn brakes.
Sadly.
Pump your damn brakes. I think that was one of the mistakes, though, that Barack Obama made. Was exactly what Sean said. Barack didn't come out swinging, but when Barack started swinging, he was throwing haymakers.
Right.
And I think that's what created Trump.
Yes. And, another thing about Biden, too, is that, he supports these wars. He's not going to end these wars. He supports Israel. He loves giving billions of dollars to Israel every year. We shouldn't be doing that either. Okay? Playing the identity politics, they don't need to be doing that anymore. We need to worry about what conservatives worry about. What's the number one thing everyone's worried about? The fucking economy.
How that was the number one issue in this.
What's number two? COVID, right? So the economy and COVID, then the infrastructure. We need to rebuild this country from the bottom up, and then we need to fucking go against the oligarchy and start rebuilding the middle class. That's what needs to happen. If he goes by that, he could be reelected.
Well,
I would agree. Go ahead. Sorry, Tara.
I really think immigration reform needs to be the first thing that we start looking at after economy and COVID.
I'd make that the third thing. Yeah.
So immigration reform is one of them that a lot of people I've spoken to on both sides have had things to say about. And they really want to see something happening within the first 100 days of him being, sworn in. They want to see some sort of progressive. And so I think a lot of people that are wanting like a more progressive immigration reform are hoping to see that. Doubtful that they will see it. And then more conservatives are hoping to see that there's also immigration reform to an extent as well. So everyone wants there to be immigration reform. It's just on what scale.
You are right about that. I'm sorry that my white privilege made me go skip right past that. I am sorry.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. On immigration, I'll say this. Once again, I think pump your brakes a little bit, temper your expectations. I think a pathway to citizenship is what we're going to get in the next.
I don't think you should say pump your brakes anymore, Michael. It sounds dirty when you do it.
I think you're going to get a pathway to citizenship. I think all of these poor people that have been locked in cages under the Trump administration will be offered a pathway to citizenship, as they should be. I've said this since 2016 when he started talking about building a wall and rounding everybody up. I said, you're talking about fixing an economy, but you're talking about spending literally billions of dollars rounding these people up to deport them. Yeah. Whereas what would be cheaper, a pathway to citizenship.
Well.
Do what?
Yeah, but that wasn't
the Obama administration was rounding people up as well, so it doesn't all fall back on Trump.
No, it doesn't. But that was 2016. That wasn't a selling point for the Obama administration. That was just a part. That was just a procedure.
But it was still happening.
Oh yes, and it'd been happening in the Clinton administration, the Bush administration, going all the way back to Carter, Nixon. Yeah. I mean, this is just a part of American politics. Is that immigrants are forced out of the country? That they've always been doing that.
But the Trump administration is the one that administered the executive order to where they could start removing kids from their families. Right. And that's whenever it really started to go downhill. Plus, they started beefing up ICE and giving them all of this power without social workers being able to go in there and check on the situations. So it just really went downhill. Guys, I spent a lot of time researching the facilities and the treatment and stuff that go on inside of those detention facilities. And I don't feel like I'm going too far whenever I say that I think we need to abolish ICE. It's a failed administration, and it has done horrible crimes against humanity that have happened underneath the Trump administration. And I think those are things that we need to take seriously, because whenever women are being forced to have hysterectomies against their will, then, that's a big deal on American soil. And sadly, it's not the first time that we've even done this, but we need to acknowledge it and then do something about it. And if an institution is doing that underneath an administration that is responsible for it, then it definitely needs to be shut down.
I think you burn ICE to the ground, and then you take the bones of what actually you should do, and you build something new, a new immigration department or whatever you have.
I wouldn't do that.
I believe you take out any cost.
I feel like it's
cost that it. I think it's absolutely asinine, the fact that there's this extraordinary cost to become a citizen. I think you take that out of the case. Hey, here, show up at this time, take the test, free of charge, here you go. And I think we're good to go. I do think that, yes, go ahead and become a naturalized citizen. I do agree with that. But with that being said, why the fuck am I charging you to want to be a citizen of this country when I'm going to charge you taxes afterwards, number one? But no, why am I charging you to want to be a citizen of what we all call we don't all call it the greatest country in the world, but people believe that it is the greatest country in the world. So why the fuck am I charging you to want to? Are we a club now? Are we a fucking country club? Are we? Well, I guess we are technically paying member fees because we pay taxes.
Yeah. But see this? See the blue eyes, the white skin? Yeah, we're a country club. It's always been this way. Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Manic Hispanic, what are your thoughts?
I try not to have any when it comes to this because most people don't agree with my view of it.
Mm-hmm. That's why you're here, though.
You can't just have everybody come over the border wherever they want, whenever they want, because then there's no telling what you're getting across the border. Cuba released all their prisoners back in, the 60s? And flooded Florida with a bunch of Cuban refugees that were really criminals that just did all kinds of crap. We didn't know who was in the state.
I would agree.
Had to
I don't
know who was here.
I don't think any of us are fighting for open borders besides Sean, just completely open
I am.
borders.
Yes,
but
I am.
I'm saying, yes, put them through a process. You take a test, you do a background check, et cetera, and make sure that these people are, going to be productive members of society. But you don't have to limit these people to, hey, we're just going to throw you back over unless you can pay an exorbitant fee to go through these legal processes to.
But a lot of these people that have been captured and put in cages, as y'all say, were people that crossed the border illegally. They just crossed wherever they felt like
They crossed illegally. You seek asylum by going up to the border, and then you ask for asylum. They did it legally, and that's a big misunderstanding. We really need to eradicate from this country, because as a refugee and seeking asylum, the correct way to do it is to come over and go directly to a place where you can check into the country. That's the embassy. That's
correct.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did coming up from Guatemala. In their big caravan. That's exactly what Cuba did. What?
They weren't taken from that point and thrown in cages. The people that were crossing in areas where there was no port of entry are the ones that were being picked up and put in cages.
Not all the time. Sometimes they go up there to do asylum. They wait for transport there until their court dates. So they hold them in those holding cells. A lot of times it's not anyone that's ever broken the law or that's a criminal or done anything. They're seeking asylum. And so they go through those checkpoints, and those are the holding places and the detention facilities where they're at.
Right.
Which, I mean, in my opinion, why are we putting them in a holding facility?
Yeah, I don't
why are
understand.
we not
Yeah,
saying,
why-
hey, come here. If you don't have this resolved by X number of months or, a month, 2 months, 3 months, then, okay, you need to leave.
Why is this imaginary line even relevant at all? Okay,
I
why
understand
why can't
I
people just
understand
come
your
through
argument,
here?
Sean.
We have more than enough resources
Uh-oh.
to take care of everybody. Okay, there be any reason why anybody can't come here? Okay, this whole idea, oh well, they're going to do bad things. Domestic terrorism is the worst thing that happens in America. That's where all the mass shootings
That's
are.
true.
Oklahoma City, all the other things that have happened.
But it's a lot
I mean,
easier to track them than somebody that just blows across the border.
No. Did anybody track Tim McVeigh?
Across the border with
Did
what? They weren't
anybody
even
track Tim
carrying
McVeigh at all?
bags.
No, this guy
What were we
was
so
in the
afraid
military.
of?
You don't know who they are or what they're doing.
I know that the majority
And
of
nobody
people
knew
that
who
come
my
across the border
ancestors
don't
were when they
commit
moved from
crimes.
American Samoa.
Statistics
I
have
didn't get
actually proven that.
detained. American Samoans, we might be a territory, but we are national, so we aren't actually citizens. When my family immigrated from American Samoa, before U.S. and American Samoa relations were strong enough that we were a territory, ain't nobody tried to deport us just because they didn't know who we were. That's not an excuse. You got to give people the due process and not drag them around on this string where it takes 5 years to get goddamn citizenship.
I agree.
That's
Many
where I
Hispanic, I
disagree.
think that
Maybe
you
it
would.
shouldn't take 5 years, but right now that's what it is.
I think if you
Until
did
Americans can pass our own immigration test, we really need to revisit the way that we handle immigration.
I would agree with that as
That's
well.
your
I
opinion.
think
My opinion is different. That's why I'm saying I usually don't get into this conversation because most people don't agree with my
And this
opinion.
nation has no right to deport people from Mexico when the Mexican people owned the majority of this country for hundreds and hundreds of years. We
And
stole
after
this
a
land.
war, they did not.
It doesn't matter. We stole this
back
land,
then.
but it doesn't now. Okay, we stole this land. It's all
So
irrelevant.
now all
all
of a
these
sudden
little borders.
you expect them to just give up land?
Sure, why not? We have more than enough. Why can't we just let everybody come over here?
That, Sean?
Yeah, we should. Yes.
I didn't say
I
you
don't know
should.
that it's
I
about
said,
giving
do you
up
think
land.
they're really going to do that?
I think we should. Yes.
my thing is this, though. I think that if we did offer something like, hey, here's the deal. You come across the border. Here, do it this way. We're not going to charge you for the class. We're not going to charge you for the test. We're not going to charge you for the background check. I believe you will see an influx of people come in legally. I think right now the reason why we have this influx of illegal immigration is who the hell? I know I couldn't pay if I wasn't a naturalized citizen those prices. You have to hire a lawyer. You have to go through court systems, all sorts of shit. Why isn't it just a test? There you go. Background check. There you go. Bingo, bango. We're good.
Other countries have faster pathways to citizenship too. If you look into them and you look at how they do that, I mean, and there's just no reason why we can't do it. Also, I don't understand the reason why we have to punish people so harshly for basically doing something that is like tantamount to a glorified trespassing charge. You know what I mean? Like they're just trespassing at this point. Do we really need to throw them in such terrible conditions where they're ripped away and where they've died and where they've been sexually abused and put them in a situation like that? It just
Well, that's because people like Trump dehumanize them.
People doing it.
Oh, hold on. Go ahead, man. Hispanic.
I said because if a punishment isn't bad, you're just going to have more people doing it.
So then at that point, we should start putting people to death for committing robbery.
You're treating these people as if they were animals. You're putting them in cages. And the leader of this country.
We are all animals, Sean. I figured you would know that.
True.
I believe we are a human species. I'm not going to argue that point, but to treat people other than people and to treat them as badly as people do animals, that's not correct. That's not the way that we should. And the leader of this country promotes that. He promotes dehumanizing people and treating them like animals.
He does.
At the end of the day, we choose to follow the rules that everybody else.
Hey, just because it's legal, don't make it right. Slavery proved that.
I mean, I think, though, like I said, I think, Manic Hispanic, that it would be a much easier, and you'd see a lot more people be very. You'd see a drop in illegal immigration if you took away
all the charges.
Away
I get that.
That's
I get
going
that.
on.
I'm not disputing that. The question was, why are we doing this? And that's my opinion on why we're doing this at this point.
Absolutely.
Do things need to change? Sure, they do.
Absolutely, and
Do
I
we need
agree.
to give up land because it used to belong to somebody that after a war we've taken over? No, I don't think we should.
I mean, you're gonna hear Sean say that we're gonna give up everything in the whole country and fucking move back wherever the fuck our ancestors came from. I mean, Sean's already said that on this show, so you're not gonna get anywhere with Sean.
I know.
It is fun watching
my
you
comments
try
aren't just for Sean. It's for, the viewing public that find this show later because they sure don't watch us live.
Hey, we've actually done pretty good today. Thank you.
Actually, I've had a couple people that have messaged me and they're like, this is awesome. I didn't know about this podcast. So thanks for sharing it. And I was like,
nice.
I'm excited.
I mean, I've had one person watching the whole time, which is kind of cool, and it wasn't the guy from Cummins tonight. So
I was about to
that's
say,
actually cool. Yeah,
we've had between 2 and 6. Yeah. We've been averaging between 2 and 6 all night, so I've been enjoying.
But we generally get about 250 to 350 a week that actually watch the shows during the week.
After the fact. So yes, my comments, my thoughts, my getting my opinion out there is more for them because I know Sean don't listen to me.
And I enjoy having your opinion on here, definitely, because it does help.
I do offer different opinion than most everybody else here. So
you're right. And there's truth to what you're saying as well. Do I believe that we should just give everything to whatever?
Yeah. When are y'all going to board a boat and go back across the ocean?
Hey, let me just get my little rowboat.
Thumbs up again.
Hold up, who's paying for this? Who's giving me my plane ticket and buying me a house wherever the hell I came from? I don't even know where I came from.
Call Trump.
Hey, Donnie boy, I'm going to need some help.
I'll be in Switzerland.
Need you to help me out. Yeah, Switzerland.
That'd be cool.
That's my people.
By the way, can we just establish the fact that Oregon literally decriminalized all drugs over this last week?
Cool.
Like, people,
isn't that awesome?
So I'm gonna need some help wrapping my mind around this because you said this is awesome, pretty boy, but I'm sitting here envisioning somebody able to go into Walmart and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna need that crack cocaine."
See, here's the thing: when you legalize all drugs, the entire population doesn't go out and get fucked up the next day. Okay?
Well, no, absolutely not. But what I'm saying is, like, what does this look like? Because I know, like, here in Arkansas, we have medical marijuana, so we have dispensaries. Is it going to be the same for these harder drugs in Oregon, or
No.
Pharmacies, or is it like over-the-counter stuff now?
It just decriminalizes people's possession at this point. So if you have a possession, if you're possessing enough just for a single use or just for yourself, you're not going to go to fucking prison for that anymore.
Okay, so it's not like hey, we can go buy it and it's cool and all that shit. Okay.
No, it's just about
just said fuck it.
No, it's just about personal usage, and it's trying to clean up the corrupt injustice system.
Right.
Okay. Which I would agree. It absolutely. I think we've all had this discussion.
I think we need to also do that as well here in Arkansas. There are so many people that
do that nationwide.
Yes.
It, because we've spent so much time unfairly putting people that have drug charges in prison for way too long, while other people only
murderers.
Right. Thanks, Biden. Thanks, Kamala.
She's got the politician thumb down.
No,
she's got the politician thumb down. But no,
it's bad.
One thing that Biden said in the debates that I keyed on and I really like is he said we need to stop throwing these drug users in jail. We need to send them to rehab.
Exactly.
We need to be trying to fix the issue rather than continuing to exacerbate it.
That's
I remember
what we need to do.
I watched this 60 Days In show where people go into the prison. They send these people into prison for 60 days, and they're supposed to be helping the sheriff find out what's going on. And one of the people that stuck with me, they said that it's easier. People don't go to jail and get hooked off of drugs. People go to jail to get high. That's a problem. There are more drugs in our jails and prisons than there are on the streets.
They go to jail and become worse criminals because they learn how to pick up how to do worse things when you come out. And I 100% believe that jail should be for rehabilitation, and it should take a holistic process on doing that too. I think family needs to be more involved in it, because statistics have shown whenever family is more involved and there's somewhere to go to transition to the outside, recidivism is way lower. I think we need to decriminalize marijuana completely, and anyone that's in charge for anything like that needs to be let out, because this is ridiculous. If we can do it medically, then it needs to just be decriminalized across the board. And then I believe that if you are a drug addict, you don't need to go to prison. You need to go to rehab, and we need to take that seriously, because punishing a drug addict doesn't change that they're a drug addict.
Right.
Exactly.
They need actual help.
It doesn't stop their body's need for those drugs.
It
doesn't.
Right.
And then
at a certain point, it's not that they want to continue using these drugs. Their body needs these drugs.
Exactly.
Right.
And punishment, they're already punishing themselves. Putting them in jail isn't going to punish them out of being an addict. It's just going to make it worse. So they need rehabilitation. And I can speak on this personally because we're actually coming up on my brother's death anniversary tomorrow. He died 5 years ago from a drug overdose. And I believe opiates are a crisis right now. A crisis as bad as COVID. It needs to be dealt with.
Especially in this state.
Yes.
Especially in this state.
It does.
Absolutely.
And we don't need to put people that are addicts in jail or in prison.
I'm gonna interrupt you right there. I think it's a crisis worse than COVID,
It is.
because COVID is just kind of around.
Yes.
The opioid problem was sparked by the pharmaceutical companies.
Absolutely.
It really pushed a bunch of crap.
Yep.
So
Right.
no, the opioid crisis is a whole lot worse than COVID.
Yeah.
And Congress members like Cory Booker, who've been bought by the pharmaceutical companies, right? That won't
Hey,
do
hold
anything.
on. Don't be
against-
changing my opinion of Corey. I kind of like
No. He had the chance and the opportunity to actually go against the pharmaceutical companies, and he refused to do so. So yes, a lot of Democrats have been bought by the pharmaceutical companies. A lot of Republicans have too.
Yes. Thank
Yes.
you. I was going to say a lot of politicians.
It's a part of our capitalist system. Their lobbyists go in, they buy our Congress people, and then this just keeps getting worse and worse.
Yep.
Well, let's not go after Pfizer because they're trying to save us right now.
Yeah, but actually we should bring that up, because what will that look like?
That's true. The scary thing about it, and Tropic Thunder, I saw your message. I appreciate you for being on for sure.
Waved at you. That was me waving.
I want to say goodbye proper. I didn't want to
okay, go ahead.
interrupt.
You're
Bye,
fine.
y'all. And bye, Dude and Cummins, if you're still here. Holding on strong.
I love how that's a
Keep
running
on
joke on
coming.
this show.
Keep on
Yeah.
Keep on
coming.
coming.
we keep on coming. We need to name this guy. What are we going to name him?
I think you guys already have. You're calling him Cummins guy.
There we go. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Cummins guy. We need to get merchandise on this show and just have our only piece of merchandise. Cummins
I'm
guy.
not wearing a T-shirt that says Cummins guy on it.
How are,
Yeah.
True.
how are they able to watch this podcast from prison?
No, that's just what we've always said. We don't know if that's real or not.
Oh,
my
God.
gosh, I'm yawning a lot.
Poor
I
Tara
came
thought
up.
we were being serious.
No, I came up with that like 6 years ago when Brad and Michael and I were on here. We would always kid around about how little people really paid attention to us, and I was like, "Well, there's that one guy in Cummins Prison. He watches us, and we've just we mention him every episode. So yeah,
I got you. Okay, so it's an
Yeah.
inside joke between you guys.
Yes, exactly.
kind of. Yeah, I mean, there might really be one, but I just don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah,
If
Yeah.
so, he's breaking the rules to watch this because you
they
don't
have cell phones.
Fight
podcast.
the power.
Yep. He's in there right now, going, look, they're talking about me again. Look.
I wonder if that's the truth. That's hilarious. Okay. Now inquiring
Oh my
minds want to know. If you're Cummins guy, reach out.
Yeah. Please comment.
Please email us. Email all of us.
Soliciting
Yes.
advice from prisoners. Yeah. Well, they would be the ones that would have, the information on stuff like this. They actually have experience in it. And
You're right about that. You mentioned that you're wondering what the vaccine's going to look like. I'm going to tell you the honest to goodness truth. I think the country's still divided even on that. I know a lot of people that are like, and they're not anti-vaxxers per se. They're just like a lot of Christians, for example. Oh, that's going to be how they do the mark of the beast and shit like that. I agree, Manic Hispanic. That's absolutely asinine.
As long
But
as it doesn't look like that phallus of a microphone that you have, I will be very, very happy.
It'd be a problem if it's that damn big. Shit, I'm gonna be getting nervous if that needle's
what if
that
it
damn
does? What if
big.
it has stem cells in it?
Oh, that's great. That would be amazing. I would
A
love
lot of
that.
vaccines actually do have stem cells in them, though. So, I mean,
Yeah, a lot of them do. Yeah.
but I don't think the pro-lifers that are hardcore about that even realize those types of things.
No, they don't look into it. They're not. I don't want to. They're just not educated enough. That's what I should say.
It's a lack
These
of
are the same people getting their news from Facebook and TikTok.
Or Fox.
I'm just saying. Well, yeah, Fox too.
TikTok.
Even though you know what, I've got to give Fox.
You don't
a
see
shout
that
out,
plastered
'cause
all over ABC and MSNBC and all that. What?
I've got to give Fox a shout out though, because Fox has been just as tough on Trump over the past 7 days as anybody else.
Noticed that?
They kind of have to. Yeah, they kind of have to.
I'm like, y'all motherfuckers trying to get y'all asses
Yeah.
canceled. Shit.
Have you guys noticed too that like all the people that used to be like Fox News has now been like, no, Fox News is just fake, just like all the rest of them. Now it's Newsmax.
I have seen that. Or what is it? Patron? That's what they're all going to now. Patreon. They're leaving Facebook in droves and going to this Patreon. I've been seeing that.
Parlay.
Or Parlay. Yeah, whatever that is.
Parler.
No,
Parler.
it's parlor. I think it's isn't it parlay? It's supposed to be French for speak, isn't it?
Oh, really? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a free speech
I'm not
thing
going
for
anywhere.
right-wingers.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, I'm gonna stay on fat. Well, guys, I actually went to that place and made an account, and the first person they requested me to follow was Ted Cruz, and so I was like, shit, fuck this.
I'm out.
And I left. I was like, I'm gonna stay on Facebook where they don't ask me to follow Ted Cruz.
It is
Poor
Parler.
Ted.
Oh,
Poor
Pamela Heiser says that she's the person in prison.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Hey.
So that's our person from Cummins. Do they have women in?
Yeah, I think there's women.
Cummins has a female unit.
Oh yeah,
Cummins
they
does
do
have
have
a
a
female-
female
Oh,
unit.
shit.
Oh, so
Yeah,
hi.
we have a Cummins person.
So it's the Cummins girl.
Hey,
The Cummins
we
lady.
don't have a Cummins guy. We have a Cummins girl. Okay,
There we go.
cool.
That's awesome.
I don't know
I
how I
felt
feel
like it
about
was
this.
a guy.
I don't know
There,
how I
look at
feel
all
about
of us being sexist about that. That's crazy.
Right. Well, guys, we have a couple more things to get to here. We have Trump firing Mark Esper, and we have a story from CNN when it was just breaking.
Called for Joe Biden. President Trump has just fired his defense secretary. I want to go to CNN's Caitlin Collins at the White House. Caitlin, can you give us the latest on this?
Yeah, Brianna, the president just let us know by Twitter that he has terminated Mark Esper and is instead going to put an acting defense secretary in his place. That's the director of the National Counterterrorism Center that's going to be serving in that position. And this is a role that Esper likely would have only had for about 2 more months. But it was clear that the president had been wanting to fire Esper for some time. And Brianna, he came incredibly close over the summer to doing it and had to have some interventions from Esper allies to convince the president not to fire the defense secretary while he was campaigning to be reelected. And so they had assured the president he could wait until after the election and then he would have this chance. And now the president has taken it. And it's notable that it actually took this long for the president to do so. Of course, he's been a little preoccupied over the last few days with trying to contest the outcome of the election. But the president and his defense secretary had a relationship that completely deteriorated since about May. They had been on terrible footing to where the president was furious with Esper on so many occasions. He at one point at a press conference, remember, referred to him as Yesper, saying that he was a yes man who said yes to everything. And it was just very clear that the writing was on the wall that Mark Esper did not have long to go. And last week, our colleagues at the Pentagon reported that Esper had actually prepared a resignation letter in case he needed to turn it in this week because they wanted to make it as smooth of a transition as possible. So he knew this was coming, but instead of letting Esper turn in that resignation letter, it appears the president has just flat out terminated him. And we'll have to wait to get details because remember, the last time the president fired a defense secretary with Mattis when he resigned in protest, the president and his aides tried to frame it as a retirement was happening when actually we found out shortly thereafter that Mattis was resigning in protest over the president's decisions when it came to troop withdrawals. So we'll have to wait to see what are the details here with Esper and how exactly this went down. But the other thing is, Brianna, he might just be the first one that's on the chopping block because we know the president has been very unhappy with the Attorney General Bill Barr because he didn't feel like he prosecuted enough of his political opponents or prosecuted any of his political opponents to the degree that the president wanted. But also the FBI director, Chris Wray, who typically would serve a 10-year term, the president has also wanted to fire him as well. So really what the president is saying with this tweet firing Esper is that this is not going to be a quiet transition that you've seen with past presidents. They're in this lame duck period and someone else is replacing them. It can often be a pretty sleepy period. Donald Trump, it clearly is not going to be, Brianna.
No, clearly not. Caitlin, thank you so much. I want to go over to Barbara.
So, remember when we all said that for the next 2 months, Trump's going to be sitting in the Oval Office like this and just pouting? Yeah, I guess that was nice thinking.
I never said that.
Number one, how do you get fired? How do you fire somebody when, motherfucker, you just got fired?
Yep. He's going to take as many out as he can.
Yeah, he's just taking his vengeance, I guess, out on everybody else that he can fire. So he'll probably fire the entire administration if he can.
She said it's the first of many. Like,
yeah,
dude, you've got 80 days. Just chill. I'm going to need you to just chill for a little bit.
That's not going to happen.
Get on your phone on Twitter. And
he's putting blemishes on people's resumes.
Like, can we stop this man's, like, White House briefings and everything and just clear his damn schedule and let him stay in bed all day and tweet to his heart's content and just do his deal?
They should shut his tweet. They should shut his Twitter account down already. They should just go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
well, shit, he's not even on his White House Twitter account. He's on the fucking Donald Trump Twitter account. What were you saying, Tara?
Oh, after he's kicked out and everything, and doesn't have the security that he had as president to have a Twitter, I 100% believe that it's going to be banned for life. I don't think he's going to have a platform on Twitter anymore, just like Steve Bannon. But I will say this. I looked into this and I see that they're going to be starting up some Trump TV thing where they're going to act like it's going to be a subscription to it. And I think Sean Hannity and some of the other really, really far right people are going to be going over there to it as well. I don't know how long it's going to last or how the ratings are going to be. I suspect for the first couple of months, maybe the ratings will be really high because people will just be interested, but then it'll just kind of taper off. But what he's trying to do is make money being a TV personality after this.
Yeah,
Maybe Bill O'Reilly will be going.
They talked about that. Yeah, they mentioned Bill O'Reilly, Sean Hannity. They mentioned Coulter. They mentioned Michael Savage. You know, they mentioned a whole lot of the conservative talk radio hosts going over there and actually being on this platform. Yeah, it would be something like either Patriot TV, Trump TV.
Is
but
Rush going to be on there?
Well, no, Russia's going to be dead, thank goodness. But it'll be something with the Trump name to get everyone involved that loves Trump to go and be a part of it. And I think it would last probably about 6 months. I'll give it 6 months before it actually starts to filter out.
I think everyone would be really like just kind of watching just to see what it is for a little bit. And then it would just slowly because then you won't have to listen to his opinion anymore. You won't be a president. So
unless Trump was able to buy Fox News, I don't think that he could ever have anything as big as Fox News.
Don't give him ideas. Don't give him ideas.
He's not,
just in case somebody from
watching.
DC. Just in case somebody from DC is watching us.
So I guess the real question would be, would the Manic Hispanic get a subscription to Trump TV?
Yeah, I was about to say Manic Hispanic.
No, because I'm a wrestling guy and I don't have a subscription to WWE Network. I mean,
oh, that's a subscription based? I didn't know that.
I am not going to pay more than I have to watch something.
I mean, you can always Fire Stick it. I mean, that's always
true.
free.
That's why I don't subscribe to these other streaming services and stuff like that.
Bro, you're missing out on
I'm big into
Netflix.
Star
They just
Trek,
put up
but I don't have
Chappelle's
the
Show.
CBS streaming service just to watch Discovery.
You're missing out
All
on
you got to do is
Netflix
get a
and Hulu.
Fire Stick, jailbreak your Fire Stick, and you can watch it all for free.
Oh,
It's
yes,
great.
absolutely. You can.
And I believe that's what a lot of it's going to be about, because I don't think people are going to get subscriptions to Trump TV, and that's why it's not going to make as big of a splash as he is. And a lot of the people that he appeals to are kind of like the older people that aren't very
SSI,
savvy.
fixed
They're not
income.
savvy
The
on
Walking Dead.
Exactly. I knew you were going to go hard on boomers, but you know what? Not all boomers are bad. In fact, my client that I've been working for a long time, she's
You've upset Sean now.
she's 97 years old, and she got out and she voted for Biden this year. She's been
awesome.
Bless her heart.
She did it. She's going to probably die soon, but she got her vote in.
Sean, don't
cool.
say it. You be nice.
She is.
Don't say it.
It's okay. It's
Okay.
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 I said bless her heart.
Good boy. Good boy.
What I want to see is how long is it going to take Trump to try to do another Apprentice?
That's what I'm thinking. That's probably coming to Trump TV.
I don't think it'll be another Apprentice. I think they're going to come up with a new kind of show about politics revolving around Trump.
TV. That's what it's going to be.
It's Trump TV, yeah.
He'll be able to
but when Trump TV tanks, he's going to go back to the networks and
I don't think
try to pick
NBC.
up where
I
he
don't
left
think
off
the
from
networks
there.
will
That's
touch him.
really
Though.
what I
I
believe.
think he's become such a pariah that he'll find someplace deep down in the cable channels that would touch him. But I don't think NBC, CBS, ABC.
I could see
don't
Fox
think they'll
News
touch
giving him his own show. I mean, they let Huckabee go on there and act a fool.
Hey, Huckabee's a former governor of this state, and I used to once be proud of that.
He's had his own show on there for 4 years. I think they're sick of it.
I think he's got his own network now because I don't think he's on Fox anymore. I could be wrong.
What that one guy that started the Blaze? Trump could partner with him.
The Blaze.
Glenn Beck.
Yeah.
Glenn Beck has his own thing. It's his own channel, and it's also online. It's called The Blaze. There's a lot of conservatives on there. I forgot they were talking about maybe he partnering up with Glenn Beck and creating a super conservative channel now, something like that. That'll just be, ultra far right, kill everybody and let God sort them out type of thing.
Hey, Donald, I'm going to need you to just go back to The Apprentice and go back to you're fired. Shut up and fire people. Wasn't that the phrase back in 2016 during the protest? Shut up and dribble. Well, Donald, I'm going to need you to shut up and fire. That's all I need you
I
for
really
at this
hope they
point.
get him away from the Miss America pageant and Teen USA pageants and stuff like
Doesn't
that.
he own that, though?
They already did.
Yeah,
I think he owns it.
Yeah, they did
No.
a long. They moved
they did?
away from that. He's not.
Okay. Yeah, he shouldn't be allowed to be around that. So,
Yeah,
or his
that-
kids, or his kids.
He's got some cases he's going to have to deal with once he when he's not president anymore too. There's one of them that's active right now that he was trying to get the U.S. involved in on his behalf, and the judge actually ruled that the U.S. isn't going to fight this case for him. They're going to wait until he's not president anymore, and then they're going to go for charges.
Well, and this is
that the
why I said
13-year-old girl?
I do believe he will
with
be out of the
the
country.
woman back in the 1990s.
Okay.
I do believe he will leave the country just for that, at least until it cools off.
No, he'll have a piece of paper with his signature pardoning him for any and all crimes was committed in his lifetime.
So what does he do that on? January 20th at 12 midnight? Does he go ahead and sign
January
that? How long
19th.
does he wait?
January 19th.
Yep.
January 19th. There you go. There you go. My goodness. Well, guys, I said I was flip-flopping on how much I'm going to play of it. I'm probably going to play about 5 minutes. But Dave Chappelle, it was very dry, but he made some good points in his opening monologue. So I do want to go ahead and play this and show everybody what this looks like. So give me 1 second here. And I've got to mute myself so I don't talk over it. Mute.
Thanks for sharing your play-by-play. I think you can still hear me. You cut it off at the punchline.
You're still muted.
Sorry.
My bad. I did cut it off at the punchline. He went on to. He did go on to say, "Was it me saying it or was it you?" So I didn't mean to cut it off that early.
It's funnier when the black guy says it, though.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is. But, you know, he made a good point about it. We're all very, very happy right now. And, you know, we're extremely happy, but that the president-elect does not get rid of the issues we're still facing. You know, COVID, these mass shootings like he talked about, you know, and obviously the racial injustice in this country. So I wanted to play that and get you guys' thoughts on that because, I mean, he brought up quite a few good points in that short 5-minute clip. We'll start with you, Manicus. Manic, what did you think of Chappelle's opening monologue?
I think it was very racist in tone, and I don't agree with most of it. Saying that somebody had to stop the white murderous people. Just looking at Chicago for 2020, 646 of the deaths have been male, and 359 of those are attributed to black or Hispanic, or black not Hispanic. So it's not necessarily murderous white people out there. It's just murderous people. The minute you start throwing white, black, all of that, you start getting into racism. I don't care what color you are or what color the people you're talking about. Instead of saying murderous people, we have to try to lump it into a category.
Well, and to be fair, Manic Hispanic, I think he specifically meant the mass shootings, which
I think so. I think that's what he was talking about too.
Statistically, have been white people. Do what now? I apologize, Tara.
I think he was talking about the domestic terrorism going on.
Yeah, these mass shootings.
We don't consider gang shootings domestic terrorism?
I think gang violence is different than domestic terrorism.
I would agree.
Gang violence has its
It's
own
a group of people trying to terrorize another group of people.
Well, if that's the case, then every crime is domestic terrorism. But that's not what it is. That domestic terrorism is specific to a certain type of crime that you're trying to commit and who it involves.
Well, I want to go back to Chris Rock when he said whatever happened to just plain crazy.
Chris Rock?
When did he say that? Sorry, what part are we talking about with Chris Rock?
As far as comedians talking about murder.
Oh, okay.
He said, Chris Rock had said that we try to put all these things on people that commit these heinous crimes. Like they didn't have friends or they were on drugs or this and that. Whatever happened to just plain being crazy.
Right. That's true. I can agree with that.
Well,
And it shouldn't matter if it was a white person with a gun in the third story of a building shooting as many people as they can, or 20 people out on 3rd Street shooting up a house.
I think it does matter. I think we should investigate these things and find out the causality of them all, whether it be gang violence or it be mass shootings or serial killers. You know, if we just generalize it and say, well, everybody's crazy, that kind of that doesn't do anybody any good. There's no cause and effect. We can't determine how to try to deter this, and that's what we want to do.
I can see both sides on
Right.
that part because yes,
Right.
absolutely, motherfuckers are crazy. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely, I can agree with that. But at the same time, I can understand your point too. How do we prevent this? We have to study this rather than just blowing it off as everybody's crazy. We have to study this to be able to prevent it. So I see both sides of the argument. But I mean, honestly,
to go for what you were asking me, as I watched it when you sent it to us, I found a majority of it to be very racist in tone.
Okay. Pretty boy. I mean, once again, I think that he said a lot of things that a lot of people are forgetting. You know, a lot of people get swept up in the fact that Biden is now the president, and oh my God, we're so happy, but there are still these issues that we're now forgetting. Go ahead, pretty boy.
The first day of my administration, if you were born between 1946 and 1964, we're just going to eradicate your ass.
Can we treat him like Trump? Can we treat him like Trump and just cut away like they did Trump last week?
Going to take him to the showers?
No, I wouldn't even be that nice about it. It would just be cruelty, just malicious cruelty, the way the boomers have treated every other generation behind them.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Tara, what'd you think of Chappelle's monologue?
I'm just going to start off by saying not all boomers.
I know. Not all boomers.
Not all them damn boomers.
Not all boomers matter. Just a few.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So I actually watched it the night that it came on, and I watched it live as it was coming on. So I was one of the first people that got to experience it. And I guess a football game went over, and then the news went over. So we didn't even get to watch it until it was like 11:30, which was cray. But so it did come on, and I saw it, and I was like, this is good. But I think he was touching on some real situational problems that are happening right now. It doesn't matter who the president is, we're still going to have to deal with these problems that have been heightened and that have been that's been stirred up the last 4 years. I think that we were already starting to see that come to a head during the last years that Obama was president. And then when Trump took over, it just got worse. It just got worse. It blew up, like it came to a head and exploded. And now we're going to have to fix that. And that's a generation of damage. We've already seen this go on for generations. And now we're just now getting to a point where we're starting to admit that this is caused by us. And Absolutely. we need to get to the bottom of this. And I don't think, to be honest, Black people trust us.
I would agree.
Getting at is that he was being funny, but in a roundabout way, he was saying, this president is still a white old man, and we have no reason to believe that he is going to speak for us or that he is going to do anything to make us feel better about the situation going on. And I completely agree with it, because what have we done to prove to them other than just here recently, the protesting and people standing up and saying, hey, Black Lives Matter. Well, we've always known that Black lives have mattered, but you know what? They haven't been treated like that here in the U.S. Hasn't always been the case. And a lot of people haven't realized until recently about systemic racism and how deep that goes into our roots and our veins of the American people. And now we're just starting to get to a point where it's like, hey, we're calling this out from all directions. Now, if Biden gets elected, are we going to stick our heads back in the sand? Can they trust us to continue to have a voice and be an ally? Or are we going to be the people that go back into hiding for 4 years because now we have a president that's going to take care of us, quote unquote? There's still a lot of people left out of that. So,
especially after Obama. They really thought that way when Obama was elected. Now we've got a president that's going to take care of us, and that wasn't so much the case.
That's very true.
Not always, right. I don't agree with all of Obama's policies, to be honest, by the way.
President Obama failed the nation on many, many levels. The wars, the divisiveness, the way he handled certain situations. He could have come out, like I said, that Joe should be doing. He could have come out with the full control of the House and Congress, come out swinging, and did some really good things for this country and actually pushed some progress but he played it safe for re-election. And that was the biggest mistake of the Obama-Biden presidency. That right there. They wasted 2 years when they could have actually got so much more done.
Yeah, and I don't agree with his policy on immigration and war either. I didn't agree with that.
I'm waiting for the day that we have a Hispanic woman standing there with a tortilla in one hand and a chancla in the other to let the nation know that things are good.
As long as she's Generation X, I'll vote for her.
I love you, Manicus Manning. But no, I mean, honestly, though, I think you're completely right, Tara. That's what I got out of it, is that we still have these issues. No matter what, we still have these issues. You know, I've seen it quite a few times right before the election. I haven't seen it since because everybody's celebrating. But, you know, that's kind of exactly what we didn't want to happen. A lot of people said, you know, now that we're getting into this election, no matter what happens, I don't want to see y'all all of a sudden being quiet saying, you know, keep going with the Black Lives Matter. Keep going with all of this stuff because it's not over. Nothing has changed since May. And nothing has changed.
I've seen a lot of tweets of people that are like, oh, I can't wait till Trump's not president anymore so we can enjoy brunch. Or can't wait till Trump's not president anymore so that we can do this. And I'm like, here's what we're not going to do. We still got lots of work to do whenever Biden becomes president. I don't want to see people just slacking off and getting comfortable and complacent because we have somebody there now that's going to resemble us and take care of us, because there are a lot of people out there still that aren't covered by this, that are still scared. And we need to remind them and reassure them that we're going to go just as hard on Biden and hold him accountable. And if he starts fucking up, we're going to be putting him on the table. You know, I mean, I'm not going to just be nice to Biden because he's a Democrat. No. I will go just as hard on him as I went on Trump the last 4 years. And in fact, this just rolled around. But the 4 years ago, after Trump was elected, I told everyone on Facebook that I was going to spend the next 4 years reminding this country why we made a huge mistake in electing him until we get him out of office. And then that rolled around and I said, I did it. I kept my promise. Now I'm going to spend the next 4 years holding Biden accountable for making sure that he keeps his promises and does what he's supposed to do. And please believe that if he doesn't, I'll take him to the mat.
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, back in July, I want to say, when he chose Kamala, I remember distinctly being on this show. And I said, you know, Sean, and I was talking to you as well, Manic Hispanic. I don't think Tropic Thunder or Fox had joined us yet. But I said, does this do anything? Does Kamala really do anything to move the needle on racial inequality? And we all said no. Because she's a former prosecutor, no. She does the things we were rallying against.
Yeah.
Now that it's convenient for her, she's all of a sudden saying different things.
Right.
But
I mean, she's a politician.
Yeah. But I also think that she realizes that she made a mistake. A lot of Democrats signed on that crime bill. When they signed on that crime bill, they didn't realize that 20 years from now it was going to cause the problems that it's caused. And now that we see that, hindsight's 2020, we realize we made a big ass mistake on that. And now it's our responsibility to fix it. And I think Kamala is one of them that realizes that she made a big mistake and that she has to fix this now. And the only way that she can fix it is from a vice presidential or presidential point of view.
But will they admit it? See, that's the thing. A true leader.
Joe did. Joe did whenever they played the. I think Joe did, though, whenever he played the commercial. Whenever Trump put out the commercial of his comments, I think Biden did say, you know, that represents me a long time ago. I've grown.
Well, I would definitely love to hear him come out in a speech and just address that issue with Kamala. Both of them saying, look, you know, 20 years ago, we made these mistakes and we have caused suffering in this country, and we want to apologize and we want to make it better. And we're going to work to do that. If they said that, they get a lot more support. People need to admit
to make it better 18 years ago, 16 years ago. Why did they wait 20 years?
Well, Kamala, let's be honest, though, Kamala's just a freshman senator. So really, she's only been in position to do anything about it in the past 4 years. Before that, she was a prosecutor who really had no fucking... All she really was to do was follow the law as it's written. She had no interpretation. Now, Joe, on the other hand, really, I argue that the vice presidency is a title. I don't think you wield much power in the vice presidency unless there's a tie in the Senate. So I would say that Joe, you take out the 4 years that, or the 8 years, excuse me, that Joe was vice president, yes, you can say when he was a senator he could have done something about it.
Yeah,
But I think
36
you
years.
disqualify the 8 years that he was
Yeah.
vice president, because a vice
36
president
years, he could have done a lot more than what he did. But then most of Congress could do a lot more.
Well,
Absolutely.
Most of the United States could have done more. You know,
Right.
we're just now starting to address this and starting to really, really get into it with people. And I think the sad part is that this has been going on for so long, and it was never right. Manic Hispanic, you're absolutely right. Why didn't they do something back then? Why didn't they stand up and be the first people to do it? And I think it comes down to this: America is still racist.
Right. So we do it now. We get rid of the racists. Start with the boomers.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay, y'all. We're going to go ahead and get into our final segment of the week. Tara, I didn't explain this to you, but we have an American Idiot of the Week that we nominate each week. We each choose the biggest idiot in the country. My choice this week is the two idiots in St. Louis that were wielding the guns at the protesters that are now, I believe, wanting to either prosecute or sue the photographer that took the photograph of them wielding
they're
these
attorneys
guns.
too.
Yeah. They are. What a litigious
And
society.
they
But
spoke at the Republican. What is it called? RNC? No.
RNC.
The
Republican
RNC. Yeah, the
National
GOP. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They spoke there.
Yeah,
Yes.
they did. Yeah. Gotta love the RNC fuckers. Anyway, Sean, who's your American Idiot of the Week?
It's Joe Biden.
God damn
It
it.
is
I knew
Joe
was coming.
Biden for playing identity politics in his first speech. You got to talk about the economy. You got to talk about things that really matter to all American people. You can't just placate to just these little slivers here and there. Okay. That's what Trump did. That's why Trump's not in office. Okay. Biden's going to keep doing this. We're going to have Tom Cotton in the next 4 years. Okay.
Give him 7 days, god damn it.
He has to come out swinging, and he has to start doing the right thing. If he really wants to heal this country, he has to be a strong leader, and he's just not going to do it. I don't believe he will.
Manic Hispanic, because you're American Idiot of the Week. I feel like there's 74 million of them.
Well, I actually don't have one. I needed a break from politics for the week, so I didn't take one. So I guess I will look in the mirror and say that I am my American Idiot of the Week for thinking that anything was different.
You can pick
For thinking what?
For thinking anything was going to be different than what we got.
Okay. Tara, do you have an American Idiot of the Week? I tried to give you as much time as possible.
I think I'm going to have to actually go with Rudy Giuliani. I mean, he is just a dumbass. I mean, it's bad. It's not looking great for him. It hasn't looked great for him for a while. And whenever he started talking about ballots coming from Mars, he just lost me as hell. I can't even
hold up. My dude was supposed to speak at the Four Seasons, and they booked the Four Seasons landscaping company.
Yes. So I got to say, definitely, I'm going to go with Rudy Giuliani on this. Dude, he just looks like such a dumbass right now.
Did you see where the Four Seasons Landscape Company was? Next to a mortuarium and
I didn't even know that part.
And a sex shop.
And did you see them going after them and showing them that they were selling the Zoom background as you can use the Four Seasons as your Zoom background, and it was just it's Rudy Giuliani in my opinion, but that's just me.
Oh God! Remember when Rudy was loved after 9/11?
America's mayor. Remember when they called him America's mayor?
Yeah. God bless us, one and all.
Sacha Baron Cohen has forever ruined him for this.
Oh my God! I had not seen the new one, but I want to see it so bad.
It's Rudy, in my opinion.
Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, before we get out of here, I want your thoughts on this. I don't know. They did mention that he may be one of the people that Trump's looking to fire, but I sent this in the group chat. The attorney general Barr has handed prosecutors authority to investigate voter fraud. I don't know whether this is him placating to Trump so he can keep a job for the next 80 days or what, but he has given authority to prosecute people with voter fraud. Did anybody really need authority for that? I thought we were doing it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, voter fraud's illegal. That's why they call it that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was waiting. As a matter of fact,
I thought crimes were punishable.
True. As a matter of fact, I think I sent the story right before we went on the air about a person in Texas who was charged for 157 cases of voter fraud. He signed up a bunch of nursing home residents without their knowledge. Now, Sean did say, and I didn't see it in the story, but Sean did say he was not registered as a Republican or Democrat. So this doesn't.
I don't know
anything.
what. Yeah, I just said it would be interesting to find out what party he was a part of. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, it would be. But once again, oh Lord, there's so many candidates for American Idiot of the Week. But y'all, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I'm gonna say good night to America, and we will talk to you next week at the same time. Thank you.